gets there.
What's up, y'all? Good morning. Hope everybody is tuned in to the WVON Morning Show. I just need to say I went to Dunkin' Donuts today and they made my sandwich wrong. I go there every day, and they made my sandwich wrong. Ridiculous. So now I don't have anything to eat. How y'all doing? Can y'all take a moment, share the broadcast? Let's go. Good morning, Elenia Moore. Good morning, KM. Good morning, Melvin. What's up, Antonil? I gotta read that thing.
Yeah, this is, I see it's on the log.
Oh yeah, why don't you record it and just play it? Can I record it and you just hit the button?
We sure can.
And then I don't, like, you could just come in with it or do it, stick it whenever you want to stick it. Because...
We're going to do that during the next break?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Share. How y'all doing this morning?
You know what, Maze? They want the personality in this. I'm telling you that.
No one wants me, though. I'm like, I have no personality.
You're funny.
Right. No one likes me. I got a high, squeaky voice. I don't want to, police might not want me.
Okay, we'll do it in the next break. Just, I know you're busy here. Just think that when you're doing it, instead of just reading it, you got to make it sound conversational.
Hi! Paling practice. Attention, WVON listeners. There's been a time change for the Chicago Police Department Recruitment Workshop this Saturday at WVON. The forum will now begin at 1 p.m. sharp. That's right, the city is hiring 1,000 new officers. The application deadline is October 16th. During the last recruitment drive, more than 150 people attended the CPD workshop at WVON. Now don't forget, it's this Saturday, October 14th, 1 p.m. to 4 at WVON's Legacy Center, 1000 East 87th Street. Be a part of the change.
and Charles, when he's reading that, you can interject.
Hey!
That's okay to do with this.
After police coming straight from the underground, a young brother got it bad because of brown. And not the other color, so police think they have the authority to kill a minority. But bust that, because I ain't the one. For a punk up with a badge and a gun to get beaten on and thrown in jail, we could go toe-to-toe in the middle of the cell with me because I'm a teenager. Well, I used to be a teenager. With a sky pager. Look, here you go. Sorry, y'all ain't ready.
Like a snowball rolling on the side of a snow-covered hill. It's going.
Is that the remix?
No, that's the songs I remember. That's the stuff I remember from back in the day. And you remember F the Police.
Rodney King, baby.
That's amazing, man. It's a difference, you know?
Doom, 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 doom. I remember, cause this is Thriller night, and no one's gonna save you from the beast with 40 eyes. You know it's Thriller. Y'all ready for the morning show? Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more back with the ink in time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Whoa. What up, Melvin? What up, KM? What up, Elenia? What up, Brian House? John Rimbert? What up, Alicia Benford? Shout out to the AKA. Shout out to the Zeta. Shout out to the men of Phi Beta Sigma. What up, Melvin Griffin? What up, Ken Thompson? What up, Marcy? Michelle Flagg. What up, Big Brother Kane? Nate, James Williams. Dennis Evans. What up, Ingos? What up, Dre Smith? Dre, I need some of them signatures from you, brother. Wake up, all the doctors make the whoop. Share the broadcast. Catch all the. We're live on YouTube too. What's up to everybody on YouTube? Before their judgment day. Sonia Escobar. What up, Clifton Turner? Wake up. And if y'all got kids that play basketball, you're going to want to watch this show. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out. They do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it. Good morning, Chicago. Good morning, world. This is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, how you feeling this morning?
Man, kind of overslept this morning, but I'm woke.
You overslept. As long as you woke up, my brother. You know, you put your 2 feet on the ground. You here, man. You here.
Praising.
Charles, you walked in this morning. I saw a little something, because my man, you had your jacket. You know how you do your jacket with your, Charles, you still had your player clothes on.
I was a little disheveled or what?
You was a little disheveled this morning. There we go with the big one. Look, that's the Salim conversation. I just said you had your collar moved a little bit. Hey, we cannot do the WVON Morning Show without showing love to the WVON morning team. Gotta say what's up to Annette Flournoy, who clearly has put back on the Nike swoosh, and it is jumping off the tricep. Go ahead, give us a flex. Make it jump, make it jump. Boom, look at that. How you feeling this morning, Annette?
I'm feeling good. I'm kind of like Charles, I did the snooze things maybe one too many times.
See, I have to. That snooze is the devil, the work of the devil.
I have to put it across the room, so I have to physically get up and go and turn it off.
You know what? That's a good idea. I just put it in the bathroom, and then when I go turn it off, it's right next to the toilet. You know what? It literally. Hey, I'm a pretty regular guy. Hey, cannot fly the soul plane without Miss Sonia Escobar, the musical conductor. How you feeling, Sonia?
Just like a winner. I feel great.
Oh,
winner. Is that? Did you get a new hat? Did you get a? Oh no, that's the same old hat.
Yeah, I heard something about that. They won last night.
Who is they? We had a situation. I heard I heard it is a celebration day for white folks in Chicago on the north side. You know what? White folks are celebrating today. They had a Cubs win, and Mitch Trubisky was better than average. Now, meanwhile, Deshaun Watson, who the Bears skipped over, is taking people to the next level, but we're just happy for mediocre white boy Mitch Trubisky. Sorry. I still didn't see it all, but Ty, the man came in here like, you got it. Did you see Mitch Trubisky? How about that? He played.
That's one of his guys, man.
He is the man.
Yeah.
Ty.
No. Ski.
Bang, bang, bang. Hey. This is the WVON Morning Show. So, I guess the white folks are feeling a little bit good today. The Cubs won yesterday, and Mitch Trubisky. I think they just won because of the name. Trubisky.
He moves around a lot. I just hope he can outrun those guys long enough to survive.
Hey, bro, white guys do not run around. They stay in the pocket.
This guy runs pretty good, man. He runs and throws at the same time. And that's one of the things that the Bears probably need.
How's Deshaun Watson does the same thing?
Absolutely. I mean, and, you know, Dak Prescott and those guys, but this guy is... I watched, like, the first half before.
Oh, Charles, you broke that.
I told you that I'm not, you know, I'm about changing the... I'm focused on the...
Could somebody
American
please sign Colin Kaepernick?
injustice system, not the NFL. They're distracting you. They're distracting you and talk about the NFL and the flag and patriotism. This is about injustice.
Speaking of distractions, man, did you hear about this clown Mike Dicker? You know what? We're going to talk about Mike Dicker a little bit later. We'll save Mike Dicker. Charles. But I'm about to do the happy dance. You know why I'm ready to do the happy dance? Because this might be Emancipation Proclamation Day in Cook County.
You mean we might be talking about
We might be free.
in perpetuity?
We will be talking about this date in perpetuity because, y'all, today...
What is this date, by the way? This is October...
This is October 10th, better known as the day they take the vote...
Oct-10th.
...to repeal the pop tax.
Oct-10th. We'll call it Oct-10th. We
Oct-10th.
can barbecue and...
Like Juneteenth.
Like Juneteenth. We can barbecue and drink pop.
No, we got to say that on
we can
December
have
1st.
diet root beer. All the diet root beer we want on Oct-10th.
December, not Oct-10th though. That's the date. So we got to do like December 1st when we really free, because that's when we can go when the
but the vote happened on that. But we weren't really. Oh, I see.
See, like Oct-10th.
Okay.
Oct-10th would have worked if it. See, we're not really free until
Deck 1.
Deck 1.
Come, like,
and then you know what we're gonna have to do. We are gonna have to go back every year and have family reunions in the wintertime for all the ones that were left out of Chicago because they wasn't paying the dang on pop tax. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank, you know what, Charles?
I kind of still like Oct-10th better.
I like it, sounds better. But Charles, they want to say that Can the Tax Coalition changed the dynamic of this pop tax debate. But Charles, you know, I think they just got they were the beneficiaries of an awakening black populace. And I just
agree.
Don't let the Can the Tax and all the rich Republicans and everybody who jumped in on that team, don't get too confident, because guess what? You are the beneficiaries of an awakening black community who will not allow their narrative to be defined by people outside of our community, Charles.
Or by people who claim to lead our community.
Right.
And say things, because black people did not get behind the black county board president on this one, and we made quite clear that they were not behind her.
And let's be clear to the white folks. You don't get to pick who the black leaders are, right? White folks, you tried to christen, you tried to give us a queen. We showed you that ain't our queen. We gonna pick our leaders.
That's Queen Sugar.
She was the former Queen Sugar.
She became Queen Sugar, not Queen of the Black people.
Exactly.
Queen of the Sugar.
And she wore it. And so let's be clear.
She wore the crown.
Because, you know, it's a lot of people out here that seem to not recognize that black folks are no longer okay with people telling us how we think. And Charles, we come back, we're going to talk about this, because I think we got the claim, as these white folks go do the touchdown dance and are out here threatening black folks, they need to understand they're not the power behind what's happening. We aren't, but it is an awakening black population. We're going to talk about it all when we come back after traffic and weather at 6:17.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk of Chicago.
Yeah, man.
WVON.
I'm going to tell you, I'm loath to try and say that we influenced this.
Oh, she did.
But I feel like we really did.
I know we did.
This is a big historic.
This did not happen. That's why. I mean, one of the reasons she was able to get away with the sales tax thing, you know, because black folks let her. I mean, you know, this whole thing about repealing the sales tax and bringing the sales tax back, we let her get away with that. I mean, that was, to me, to take out a black person, a black political leader, based on bad information. We let her get away with that. She got a pass.
Right.
She got a pass on that. But now,
and she did, and I mean, but they stripped that dude of everything, bro.
Right.
Like they
walked point on it.
Huh? Right.
She walked point. She got a pass. Why? Because there was no black media to really hold her accountable. Nobody was holding her accountable. They held her accountable for this. We did. We held her accountable. If there was some perception that the black community was behind the project,
save it. So I'm gonna do like you do me.
Thank you.
Save it, because I feel like that. Can I say something? I believe that that's a necessary discussion, and the reason I believe that it's a necessary discussion is because these white boys right now are running roughshod. I ain't trying to protect no politician who hasn't done anything, but the white boys are running roughshod like cowboys now, threatening, talking all tough about what they gonna do. And even as this thing rolls out with them trying to get a candidate to go against Toni Preckwinkle, and I'm not supporting her, what I'm suggesting is, Charles, is that they need to understand that they didn't do it. They didn't, like the Canada Pops, like they're all getting win bonuses today. Like, let me tell you, my dude, these chumps are about to walk off today with like 100,000. When this thing flips, the way this works, there's a thing called a win bonus, 100 grand each. Watch me when I tell you. Y'all just, while they get their 100 grand, know that it's the black constituency that is woken up. Whatever.
Well, I'll tell you what's next when Rahm tries to raise the phone tax, the cell phone tax. You know, people got to mobilize again to say no, and because it's coming. They want to do that real quick. Now, there's going to be a school tax for the schools that they're going to try to run, about $125 million worth. Got to hear what has to be said about that. Because after all, we're talking about schools. But this cell phone tax that they want to try to run, because everybody has a cell phone. And they want, like, you know, money for each phone you have. Like if you have 3, then you're going to get 3 times the tax. But they're coming with that shortly. Because it's been enabled by the state legislature for the city to do that. But we'll see how people react to it when the debate begins in the city council. Whether or not people are going to stand for it. We'll see. And how you can possibly avoid it. What would people do? Can't get rid of your cell phone, but you can get rid of politicians who vote for it.
That's fun. I can read, y'all. Eyes literate. You know they don't like that reading back there. You know I had to record me some commercials. All right. The female, I'm telling you, every time I see that commercial with that minister, I just think about that battered woman's thing. And I just think about her saying, some of y'all sitting here right now, woo!
Are you going to Ditka because you're a social media question, right?
I'm going to go to Ditka, but I'm coming back to this. I want you to talk about this queen, and then we'll go to Ditka. Do you have the Ditka audio? Okay. Tell Todd to get it for you or whatever, because he had pulled it. So we don't have the audio. You are tuned into the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. And Charles, I need, I need you to put your Uncle Charles hat on, because I need for you to explain this to me, right? Right now, I'm seeing all these can the tax people, like all the people who got paid from the beverage industry running around doing the touchdown dance, talking about what they did and how they made Queen Sugar bow down. And now they're running around threatening other people because they feeling like cowboys. But Charles, I don't feel like the white boys from downtown changed it. I feel like black folks.
Yeah, definitely.
Help me understand what happened.
I think
brother.
that if black people had done what black people have been doing around here for decades, which is just getting behind a black elected official no matter what they say, if they had supported Toni Preckwinkle in her effort to impose this tax, if black people had even had there been the illusion that black people supported it, as in, boy, you're great, Toni, and this is a wonderful idea, then I don't think this tax would have been repealed. But I think because we allowed the voices of people to be heard, and they got involved, very engaged. I mean, Queen Sugar is not something that you and I came up with. This is something that a listener of this program suggested to us on Facebook Live, and we
amplified.
We amplified it, of course, but it was a really timely moniker. And it worked, and I think once that people started talking about it, it spread like an epidemic. That hey, this is something the black community does not want, and we made that very clear. And I think the tax movement benefited from it.
Okay,
we did it because can the tax would not have worked if black people had nonsensically lined up behind Toni Preckwinkle on this tax.
And so, I think that this is a moment that black people, Charles, need to revel. Right? I think this is an opportunity for black people to see what their collective power can be when they stand up and speak up. We are the sleeping giant that they like to talk about. But I feel like we've been poking that bear. And we're going to keep poking the bear and start ripping the skirts off of some of these things, because I think so much happens to us, Charles, that our people just don't understand. But when they know which way to go or who to tell, they ready to take some action.
Maze, I talked about this to you before we started.
Yes.
And I had an epiphany, a moment of clarity driving in here this morning. If there was a way to poll black folks, I mean, we do the Negrotific poll, haha. But I have an idea, and I'm going to follow up on it to find a way to poll black folks.
So what?
What do we think about a particular issue when it comes up? Not have these politicians telling their buddies what we think. Let's do it from the ground up. Let's have a media poll. Media poll, legitimate media poll, the same way the white folks do it, but it's going to be about what black folks think about an issue.
Dang, so not Negrotific, but actually doing scientific and putting a black. You know what? We got to find a black polling firm, Charles. Now you done changed me up on my question. See, now my chest. We'll see. So we're going to talk about DICA, but Charles, I am thinking. How can we help black folks most effectively express their opinions? How do we get the word out? Like, how do we make sure that black people's true opinions are being reflected by the people that are elected to represent us?
More dynamic black media, such as WVON 1690. I'm still working on something called the Chicago Drum. That's going to happen, y'all. That's going to happen. There's a landing page out there, the ChicagoDrum.com. We're working on it. It's going to happen. But we got to have media to express ourselves, our own media that we control. Not the Sun-Times or the Tribune or even WGCI and some of the other stations that are now owned and programmed by
white folks
who
want to kill us all because they keep saying murder, death, kill on the music to our kids.
Exactly, and live in other cities. Those people are programming those radio stations now. This is the only one that's being programmed here for black folks in Chicago, talking about the issues that black folks care about.
So, Charles, I think I'm going to change up the question. I wanted to talk about Mike Dicker, but we'll figure it out. Charles, how then, social media question of the day, how can we most effectively tell our elected officials what black folks really feel? Like, how can we most effectively tell our elected officials how black folks really feel? Because, Charles, I don't think that they know. I think they know what they're told we're supposed to feel, but I don't know how they know how we feel.
I think that's a great question. I want to hear some of these answers.
Give us a call.
I suggested the whole scientific poll route, but that costs money. That costs money, and that's why we're doing a Negrotific poll right now. But don't worry about it. We're gonna get the money to do what we got to do.
Now, see, you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. Social media question of the day: what do we have to do to make sure that our politicians listen to the opinions of black people? Give us a call, 773-591-1690. Post a Facebook tweet. But man, we got to get their attention, Charles. And I think we got it this time. But how do we do it consistently?
We will.
All right, 6:30, we'll be back after news, traffic, and weather.
Live from the WVON newsroom, here's our news now.
Grab an umbrella. Scattered rain today as temperatures climb to the mid.
Charles, you got the camera.
I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening.
No, I really think, but it has to keep being on several fronts.
Yep.
That we have to begin to. Well, first of all, we have. I noticed it's one Facebook author, my good friend Nate, suggested that we vote, but a lot of times we vote based on bad information, and so I think it's got to happen before we actually vote, because that way we can. Vote based with the correct information. A lot of times, too, that the Democratic Party does not allow us any real choices. They choose the people for whom we must vote. That's very difficult. We got to change that dynamic. And I think that our colleague Mark Wallace, with his 10 by 10 by 10 program, has a way to basically deal with information before we vote, because we got to have the information before we vote, because right now we don't have it. Not correct information, not the information we need. But I really am intrigued by this whole notion of polling black folks, because even the polls that they do now, the big polls that the media companies do and the lobbyists do, they have what they call inside the poll a crosstab. And the crosstab is like, what do black women think between such and such an age think about a particular issue? It's always buried. The black information is buried inside the poll. And a lot of times they don't report it because they don't want you to know how powerful you are. But what I want to do is just poll the black people. I don't care about what the rest of everybody thinks. I just want to know, what do the black people think about a particular issue? And you can break it down within black people. What do black men think? What do black women think? What do blacks of a certain age think? What do black homeowners think? What do black renters think? And not just issues that have to do with taxes and politics and government, but also issues that have to do with social issues. I mean, what do we think about this whole right to life issue, this whole abortion issue, I should call it? I mean, I'd love to know, what do black people think about that? I mean, we always get what the general public thinks about it, but what do black people think about a social issue such as that. What do black people think about same-sex marriage? What do black people think? Only black people. And you know, I would like to get that information out there, because I'm sure it's going to be two sides. It's going to be not all one way or the other. But we also might be surprised about what we are thinking about some of these so-called social issues that we suddenly are always lumped into the liberal progressive side of the issue. And we go out, we knee-jerk, and we vote that way. I want to know what we think. We can still vote the same way. I mean, we can vote any way we want, the individual. We need to know. We need to know. I think more importantly, the general society needs to know what we think. Like, there's this presumption that everything in America is fine in this post-Obama age. That we're all happy. That we just like the Negroes we see in the Subaru commercials or on the State Farm commercials. Or we just happy as we can be. We living in the suburbs, white picket fence, got a brand new Subaru, insured by State Farm, and hey, everything's copacetic. Eating Cheerios for breakfast every morning. But is this the real black America? We have to find a way to control our own narrative. What's really happening in black America? On the one hand, we see all these commercials. Then on the other hand, we see where we have the highest unemployment rate in the country. We go to the worst schools, but we never see that in the commercials, do we? We always see our children going to great integrated schools with a lot of white kids and Asian kids and Latino kids. But the reality is our kids are going to segregated schools. Too many of them are. So what's the reality? We have to begin to take control of our narrative. And we do it through media, because that's where the damage is being done, in the media. So we have to basically repair the damage in the media. So we got to control it.
And we got to launch a few Scud missiles we at it. How y'all doing this morning? Everybody take a moment, share broadcast. We're not going to go back to the country days. Boy, we got a lot of damn commercials. I mean, I done walked around the block, went outside, came back, and it's still commercials. That's a good thing. All right, who is here this morning? I want to say what's up to everybody in the building. What up, Eric Miles? Take a moment, share the broadcast. Rodney Ware. What up, KM? KM, is our meeting tonight? I need to know that. Tommy Johnson, Nate Williams, Yolanda, Rodney, DS, Tom Watson, Alvin Norton, Renee Scott, Devon Gordane, Rod Crowder, Thomas Watson, Tina Battle, Troy Brown, Nate Williams, Diana Nesbitt, Renee Scott, Daryl Wallace, Michelle Flack, Salim Muwakil, Kang Mufasa Red, Still Running Stovall, Christina Deloche, Julian Sample. What's up on the green? Julian, you're the other. You like the actual real green team, like the vegan green team. The green. Oh, you know, yesterday they said they need me to explain what the green team means. Yeah. I'll explain that to the world today.
You did?
No, I will today though.
What,
the green team?
Yeah. Because I found that surprising that people didn't know what the green team was.
But you know what, man, Charles?
We give them enough clues, don't we?
Yeah, but you know, I'm honestly, what I've come to recognize, and even like when you talk to people, like there's so much that we just take for granted, that people just think we know, that they know.
You know, it's what I explained to you called the gee whiz factor. We have to always stay gee whiz, because we don't, a lot of stuff we take for granted. We have to take a gee whiz attitude too, because that's what the listener is doing.
Because I mean, people be like, I never knew.
Right.
Oh my God.
Gee whiz.
Right.
Wow.
Like when I broke down the Dorothy Brown thing, they was like, wait, Madigan still won? Yeah, he still won. You been so mean. Well. What? You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. And Charles, for the first time in a long time, I feel like black people were heard. I feel like our voices rang out, and people, for one of the first times in my recent memory, black politicians responded to the actual call of black folks.
Wow, isn't that something, man?
I
noticed that with the Stanley Moore transformation. He said, "I'm doing what my people tell me I got to do." Woo! Man, that is revolutionary for a black politician in Chicago. Of late.
And Charles, I gave Commissioner Stanley Moore some props on that, because I'm gonna tell you, over the course of this time, and nobody did, he's been really waffling, going back and forth over this tax, because Charles, you have to understand that for a young black politician, it is a learned response that you do not defy the man or the man. It is a learned response, and it becomes very intimidating. And then when you see the person say, she gets $5 million from billion dollars from Bloomberg, black folks are used to being punished.
Black politicians are used to being
punished.
And let's make it them. Let's put it on them. It's not on black folks. We sit there and wonder, why did they do that? And you're explaining, I think, why they did that, why they do that. Yeah. But the rest of us, we're not feeling that.
Yeah, Charles, I think, though, that so understand that even as a soldier, when I was a soldier, you just get your orders. And when you get your orders, you take them and you do them, and you've learned that this is how you're a good Democrat. And so for a person like Stanley Moore or Dennis Deere to go against the boss, that being Tony Preckwinkle, you got to understand what that meant in the world of politics. I know it's not a big deal to everybody, but
Well, we elect these people believing, though, they're going to be courageous. They're leaders. We elect them believing they're going to be courageous in all battles, and they are not.
And I would say that I think that, and they think that oftentimes they've been sold that they've been elected to protect the safety net. So why you hear from them but what you hear from them is safety net. I'm going to protect the safety net. No money, no economics. You hear, and so what's happening, Charles, is even as the populace, the black voting populace is being awakened, the black politicians are starting to see, if there's a way for people to find out what's going on, I could have my own problems.
But that safety net comment, the whole always the hospital and the jail and all this, and the poor folks and all this. What about those black folks who we talk about a lot on this show?
South suburbs.
With the South suburbs, who own their own homes, who are underwater, being foreclosed, walking away from their houses, can't afford them. Those people, their voices have been totally neglected by the black political leadership. Where is, for instance, State Representative Will Davis, who represents a lot of the South suburbs? Where is he on that issue? His people are literally being run out of their homes, losing their personal safety net. They can't worry about the hospital.
They can't talk about, you can't talk about taxes, because then it would force you to ask the question, why do you vote for someone why do you vote every year, every time you have an option to vote for the person that is killing your community?
Exactly. And
he votes for Speaker Madigan.
He votes for Speaker Madigan. He carries water for him. And his people are losing their homes in Matheson, Dalton, in South Holland. All these communities in the South suburbs where these houses are literally floating away, awash by taxes and lost value.
And they're going to be mad at you.
They're going to be hard mad at me, but I'm calling them out.
Charles, they're gonna be horribly mad at me because but here's my point, Charles. This is why we've got to ask the WVON listening audience, what do black people need to do to make sure our politicians represent us? Today, the pop tax is being repealed, and I don't care what can the tax say. Black people repealed this tax.
And that's why all those black people were in those commercials, y'all. That's why.
But
that's
one
why
no black.
But black folks weren't buying it.
And black people wasn't paid. You know what? Don't get me started on that. Let's go to the phones. Johnny, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's up, Johnny?
Johnny.
Johnny, I'm waiting on my ribs, man.
I
You
got
tripping?
chicken for tacos right now.
You know how I do a chicken, man. Lions and chicken. No fried?
Anytime. You know that.
All right.
But you guys need to give yourselves full credit. I mean, the engagement. If anyone looks at the stats on your Facebook, you know, like the shares, the number of comments every day. I don't know how you respond to those comments, but you do it. But look, the engagement that you have is you lit the match. That's what got it going. Pop goes the Winkle, and the Winkle goes Pop. I mean, you got people riffing on this stuff. Pat Queen, all these terms. You know, you're making civics fun, and that's what ramps up the engagement.
There it is. Hey.
That's right.
Pop goes the Winkle, man. Pop goes the Winkle. Let's go to Michelle. Michelle, you're on the Talk of Chicago 1690. Social media question of the day. What do black people have to do to make sure that our politicians represent us?
We have to start going to all of the board meetings. So break it up as to whatever your interest is in. If it's CHA, go to the CHA board meetings. If it's CTA, go to the CTA board meetings. If it's Board of Education, go to those meetings and show up in numbers, because it's hard to make those decisions when you see a sea of black people in the audience. So you can't agree to the PLA agreement if there's a sea of business owners who are not in unions in the audience. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Michelle. Is that Michelle Flagg?
Yep.
Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate you. And you know you are on the front line, so anytime we can be supportive of you, let us know.
You know, and it's true what she mentioned about the unions, because they have created an illusion. They create an illusion quite a bit by bringing out all their members, their black members, and sitting them in the place of wherever the deliberation is happening. And the illusion is that this is what black folks want, when in fact this is what the union wants. You know, it's not necessarily always what black folks want. So, you know, you got, and this is an illusion that happens at public meetings all the time. And I don't really know how you counter it, because, you know, I agree with a lot of the things that the union wants. But at the same time, this is what the union wants, not necessarily what the black community wants, particularly on this pension issue that they can't seem to get off the dime on. They can't reform this pension issue because the union is resisting it, quite frankly, and nothing gets done. But we keep paying. Those of us who aren't in the union, of course.
Charles, I think we're going to have to pick us another fight. Like this pop tax. This pop tax.
I like to fight in the south suburbs. I like to fight there. I want to see what they're going to do about that.
You know, because I was just thinking. Think about it, Charles. There's an election coming up, and the party, with everything that's going on, the Democratic Party, has got to go to the south suburbs. What do you think they're going to say to the voters of the south suburbs? Like, I mean, what do you say when you bring Tony Preckwinkle, Joe Barrios? Well, I mean, and them people, and your state rep says, oh yeah, we voted for the guy who simultaneously lowers the rich people's property taxes and takes it out of y'all asses.
Right. You know, and the thing is that that's the most vote-rich area for the Democrats in Cook County.
South
suburbs. Thornton, Rich.
Did y'all know that, South suburbs?
If they don't win down there, they don't win.
South suburbs. Y'all know how important y'all are. And Charles, the South suburbs is like, they call it the land of milk and honey. When it comes to, because that's where they run the votes up.
That's where they
see up on the north side, up north, the white folks, they think they I told you, they got options. They can vote for Republican, Democrat, Green, Independent. South side, it is 50,000 to no.
Right.
No Republican. No nothing.
They wipe the slate clean. That's where they build up their huge majorities. Frank Zuccarelli, I think, in Thornton Township is the one weighted as they say, weighted Democratic committee man.
We have to explain that too.
Yes.
So people understand. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Talk of Chicago. Social media question of the day. What do black people need to do to make sure our politicians represent us? Give us a call after traffic and weather at 6:48.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk.
Yeah, y'all. See, we can't let these. So let me tell you, probably you all don't recognize there's 102 counties in Illinois. To be the governor of the state of Illinois, you, as a Democrat, you need to win two of 102, right? You need to win Cook County and you need to win St. Clair County. Guess what is in all of those places? Black people. So, here's the deal.
Those two places.
St. Clair is East St. Louis, right?
East Boogie.
The East Boogie, where black folks, remember, have no choices, and Cook County. So, understand that when we talk about plurality, in a place like, I'm going to use Bolingbrook. Bolingbrook, let's say 51% of the people vote Republican, 49 of them vote Democrat, right? There's not a lot of spread, so they don't cover the votes. But in a place like Harvey, where it's all black, and if you put a Democrat on the ballot, they're gonna get all the votes, right? So those votes that we get in Harvey and in the south suburbs make up for all of the white folks that vote elsewhere for the Republican, bringing those totals down. Does that make sense? So understand that right now, all of our political power is being brokered by people outside of our community. We have to begin to look at who Ooh, that's back. We're back. All right, guys, we'll be back. Hey, KM, is our meeting tonight?
Monday, October 16th. Visit BeTheChangeCPD.com. Now, you can earn over $72,000.
That's me, guys.
After just 18 months. Receive tuition reimbursement.
I'm ruining this delusion.
Insurance and more. The 2017 Chicago Police exam is approaching fast. So apply today at BeTheChange.
Play Easy now. Play Easy now.
Right. Some is easy and I got
October 14th. Inside WVON's Legacy Room from 1 to 4 p.m.
Are you unhappy with your smile or the alignment of your teeth? Look no further. Griffin Orthodontics specializes.
All right, y'all. So that is why we have to start looking at it. So the fact is, Democrats confidently walk into every meeting knowing that after they get the vote totals of Cook County, that all of those little lowly populated counties downstate have to catch up. So when you hear of a T.O. Hardeman winning 30 counties downstate as a Democrat, the fact of the matter is those votes in those counties look the same way Republican votes look in Cook County. So if I'm T.O. and I run in Madison County, right, where there's 12 Democratic votes and everything else is Republican, that's how he wins the 30 counties, right? So guys, you got to understand the math. It's not just the counties, and you got to understand voting population. All that is stuff that we'll cover in Politics 101, in Poli-Sci 101. But yeah, guys, it's kind of crazy that our political power is not brokered by us. And I think what Charles just hit on is the fact that I'm telling you all how much. I can't go into the Stanley Moore situation in depth, but like just the battle of being like, brother, it's like the polls, you ain't gotta guess what I'm telling you. Just look at the polls. So understand that there are black elected officials that know right now that they are going to walk the plank on this vote. Right? They're going to walk the plank on this vote, knowing it's against the will of their people, but they cannot break away from following the boss, even if it means their own political careers. And I tried to explain to some of the people that I talked to, you can't help no black people if you ain't there. And do you think that Can the Taxes going to be looking to put black people that's going to fight for black people there? No, they're going to do. Remember what I told you about what those guys say when they try to appoint a black elected official? They want to find the dumbest, least educated person that they can appoint so that they don't have to ask questions. So, do you really want Victor Reyes and Mike Noonan to pick the black commissioners on the south side of Chicago? No, you don't. Because if you think you're getting ran now, you've been getting ran before. So, you can't punish someone for doing what you asked them to do if this is the first time they've learned to do it. They got to see a benefit in it. Because ultimately, they don't get a competition. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. And Charles, we're trying to get these folks to think.
Oh, that was perfect. Sonia's always on point.
Look.
Always on point.
We got to get, Charles, what does it take? What do black people have to do to make sure our politicians listen to us? I think we got an example of it with this pop tax today.
Well, absolutely, but it's information. You gotta have the right information. I'm looking at my brother who wrote here on Facebook, Kahinde, who is saying that none of the stuff that's happening to us as black people here in Chicago and Cook County was done by a Republican.
Charles, you know that is. See, now, I hope you and Kahinde. Hey, Moose Man, don't you be trying to convince Charles to be trying to come a Republican.
I'm an independent.
Charles, black people can't be independent in Cook County. That's what they count on.
Yeah, that's what they count on. But
that is
the
what
thing is, I am independent, and I think a lot of the people listening are truly independents, and they want to know, and they want to pick and choose on their issues.
Well, I'm here to tell you.
And if your issue is this, vote that. If it's that, vote this. I mean, you got to become more selective. You just can't go in there blindly pulling a D. Can't do it anymore. Can't do that anymore.
Okay, let me just say this. I mean, I don't know if it's because I've been watching the Deuce lately, but you can't be saying going there and pulling the D.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can we?
Well, I've never seen the program. I'm just, I think people know that. So.
I know, man. Hey, let's go to the phone lines. Andre, you on the Talk Chicago 1690.
Good morning, my family, and I want to thank you all for spearheading inspiration to the people and the listeners to motivate them to stand up. And even when it wasn't easy, it was difficult times, that you still steadfast and led the charge. But doing a play, when you're watching a play, sometimes you have good actors and you have bad actors, and sometimes the bad actors give away the plot. Dennis Deere was out campaigning, saying how bad the soda tax was, and he was also took $40,000 from Tony Preckwinkle. Is it possible that they can just be kicking the can down the road after the election?
Oh, Andre Smith. But you know what? That to me is the danger of letting Madam Preckwinkle stay as the county board president.
You mentioned that to me yesterday, and I kind of like, come on, man, really? But no. When you
Charles.
think about, these people are that diabolical about everything. I mean, that Machiavellian, is that the word? They think
Charles,
through everything.
Charles,
man.
I'm telling you, I live this. Green, you're on the Talk of Chicago 1690. Keep it quick. Green, going once, going twice. Green, I wanted to hear.
That was the green team, maybe.
The green team. Charles, you know what? People have been asking me, what does the green team mean, actually? And I just assume people knew. But, Charles, when I say the green team, I am referring to our overwhelming Irish population that dominates the political system.
The great Irish tradition that dominates Chicago politics and has for many years. Whether you go back to Richard J., on through
Kennelly,
Richard M.,
you go all the way.
Michael Madigan, through
the green
Burke,
team,
through
the green team,
and some of the names you don't know, you never heard before, but who are power players. Was it George Dunn? Remember him?
George Dunn, Walsh, construction.
Man.
You guys, let me tell you, the green team is part of. It's the big. You know what?
They're the most powerful, I think, political subdivision, if you want to talk about it in terms of ethnicity, in the city of Chicago,
in the state of Illinois.
Thank you.
The green team, those of Notre Dame fandom. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion. NTA Academy.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation.
Oh, I lost it right there, guys. That was a blooper. So yes, for those that don't understand the green team, the green team is really, Chicago is dominated by the Irish, right? Like, just period, point blank. You want to get it done, they got to sanction it from top to bottom. To make any deals, that's how it goes. And so when we refer to the green team, it is, before I used to say things that would be offensive, but I think the green team allows us to say what we want to say without it.
It is what it is. You got to call it like it is. We talk about black political activity, then there has been, Well, it's like we can't. And it's funny because they wear it on their sleeve. Right. Like, they don't make any bones about being Irish, right? Like, they straight up be like, yo, we gonna dye the river green. Think about that. The river is green. Like, right, okay. Celebrate it. It's a holiday. You're gonna put pollutant in the river and celebrate it. It's vegetable dye. Whatever. But it didn't belong there. God didn't put it in there. So they can do that and get away with it. I mean, and not even get away with it. We'll go down and look. And how many small businesses do you see that will be Callahan's, catering, have that Irish,
Shamrock.
That Shamrock on it? Because they know that's an Irish company and they're going to do business with an Irish company the same way black people. We got to learn, because I got to learn, we all got to learn to do business with black people. The way they've been doing business with Irish people. They put that Shamrock on there because they know it's going to attract a certain clientele and that certain people are going to respond to that Shamrock and do business because they remember when they got here and the hard times they had trying to establish themselves in Chicago. Can I tell you something? The Irish, when they first came to Chicago, were looked at worse than black people. When the Irish first came here, if an Irishman moved on a black person's block, the black people moved. Right? The black people moved. And they made a conscious decision to take politics and police, right? Politics and police. Think about the history of the paddy roller, right? Usually the Irish guys, the paddy rollers, man, y'all don't even want me to go down this path. But anyway, here in Chicago, the Irish decided that they were going to make their play in politics and police. So if you look at the enclaves, the police typically come from an Irish white Catholic high school, right? The Mount Carmels, the St. Rita's, you got three options when you're a white kid in Chicago, a white Irish kid. This ain't a diss. You go to high school, you go to an Irish Catholic high school,
When you leave, they tell you to either go to, if you don't go to college, they tell you to go to a junior college and get your 2-year degree. At that same point, they tell you to apply for a city job, a state job, a county police. They know that during the 2 years that you're getting your degrees, your associates will be enough to allow you to get one of those jobs. You then, after you get your associates, become a fireman, a plumber, or whatever, police officer. And you go into and you get your $70,000, $80,000 a year job, where then you can get that $70,000 or $80,000 a year job and get $200,000 a year in overtime. Then you can move back into your old neighborhood next door to your mom or your family and send your kids to the same parish that you went to before. They got a whole system of ensuring that they populate and make sure that their community does well. You want to see it in action? Drive down 95th Street and look at Beverly. Perfect example. You want to see Irish action at work? Again, drive down 95th Street and look at how many Irish relic stores. And it is a testament to the fact that they came, they saw, they said, we're not going to do a bunch of different things. We're going to find some places to make a niche. And we're going to bury into those places, and then we're going to enforce our will and impose it in those areas. Now, doing it by politics allowed them to not only take political power, but it allowed them to legislate the wealth of their friends and families.
Look, also, all you have to do, too, when you think about that power base, politics, law enforcement, building trades, unions.
Right. And
you know that?
Yep.
Building trades union.
And the church.
And the Catholic Church.
Right.
The Archdiocese, but that's almost a given. But building trades unions. I mean, the church thing started in Ireland, in here. But the other stuff that they have co-opted and taken control of, unions, politics, what was the other one? Law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. And
you know, I ain't complaining about it. I mean,
I'm just saying we got to get ours.
They did it. But look at that model and say, hey, can we do the same thing?
Do you know that they have once a year, or not once a year, but a couple times a year, a giant meeting of all of them, the Irish Fellowship, and they all get a big giant banquet room, and it's like they all convene, and it's like, man, and I ain't even finna mess with that, because let me just tell you, I do want to start my car. But again, guys, none of that is a diss. It is, you wonder how the power happens. And Charles, that trade union piece, that's part of what I was saying. When you go to an Irish Catholic high school, what they do is they channel you, right? Like they say, son, man, go fill out the city, counties. They tell you to go fill out so you can get a job at one of these places. And if you're already in the union, then your dad blesses you in. You come in and you get, by the time you're freaking 21, you're making $80,000 a year as a tradesman, and you can buy in your own neighborhood. Plus you got the skills to do all the other stuff. We're going to NTA.
Okay, hey Maze.
Yeah.
Here's a story out of Charlottesville today. This brother got viciously attacked by several people during that demonstration. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he retaliated. He had his broken wrist, face, 18 staples in his head and stuff, mm-hmm. and he got up and started to fight back. He got arrested.
You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. But Charles, at the top of the hour, you know how we do. So gotta say what's up to Annette. Triceps pop. Look, I think, you know what, Annette, I think you stretch your tricep out every single time it's the top of the hour so I can get the Nike jump. Look at the Nike just popping, jumping. Look at that. Doing your thing. Plus, we've got Miss Sonia Escobar, the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. Now, Charles, our friends at National Teachers Academy. We gonna save these black babies, man.
Yeah, that's one of these issues we can mobilize people on.
So, Charles, you know what? The parents, for those of you that don't know, National Teachers Academy is the school located on Cermak that is in the heart of the old low end.
State and Cermak, where the old Ickes projects used to be.
And the school was created to help the poor black, it was a compromise to help the poor black kids who were getting displaced. And now, Charles, it seems like old CPS and the alderman and the mayor are working to throw out.
But you missed an important element.
Ooh.
Is that this school has gone to level 1. From
break it down, Charles.
Level 3 to level 1. One of the better
black kids?
Black kids. One of the better black elementary schools in the city, if not the best.
Gifted black kids.
Gifted black kids who are doing just fantastic work in a city where 1 in every 4 black children attend an underperforming school.
Now,
so this is a bright spot for CPS. They should be.
Why are they trying to snuff out? Why are they trying to snuff out the black kids who are doing well? They don't. Do you think if there was a school where black kids were performing well or white kids were performing well, would they be trying to snuff it out?
You want an answer from me?
Yes, I do.
No. I mean, that's my opinion, but no, I don't think. Why would you want to get rid of any school that's performing well when you have so many that are underperforming?
Because they are black kids and they are expendable. But
okay, that's the reason.
Our black kids, and so the kids. But Charles, can I tell you what? These parents have refused to give up the fight. You know, we always hear the story of black parents who send their kids to school unprepared, ain't ready.
But get to the point. The point being, they were outside the mayor's house last night demonstrating, saying, hey, do not close this school. And all the reasons that we have talked about in the last couple of minutes, they are expressing to the powers that be in this city. But CPS, at least the administration of CPS, has decided to transform, here's that word again, National Teachers Academy, the elementary school, into a high school that will serve the gentrifying South Loop and Chinatown.
Chinatown? But ain't that a black school? Why? So you mean to tell me that they're kicking... Wait a minute. We know this. They are basically willing to sacrifice the education of black children.
Gifted black children.
Gifted black children to build a new high school for Chinatown. Why?
For Chinatown and the gentrifying South Loop.
Gentrifying the new white people that are moved into the South Loop that used to be the home of the project.
Because the Chinese kids one reason is the Chinese kids refuse to go to Phillips High School or some of the local high schools on the south side.
But that's good enough for the black kids.
Well, but not good enough for the Chinese kids, apparently, because they want their own high school nearer to Chinatown, but they don't want to go the next another 5-6 blocks or whatever it takes to get them to Phillips High School, for instance.
So So apparently these teachers from the parents from National Teachers Academy have given up the fight with their local alderman who gave away $55 million and taken the fight to the mayor's front lawn. How do you think that goes?
Well, they have some time because the school board will actually make decisions on school closings and how the district will be configured moving forward in February. Because keep in mind that the moratorium on school closings is going to end in 2018, which means there are going to be a lot of changes in the district. And they probably are going to go after, I'm guessing here, a lot of, they're going after a lot of underpopulated schools, under-enrolled schools on the south and west sides. But here they are also going after this very successful school, elementary school, on the very near South Side.
So Charles, so let me ask a question, and I know I'm gonna ask a dumb question, but I'm gonna ask you to give me a smart answer. Am I wrong for looking at this through a racial lens?
You can't look at anything in the city of Chicago without a racial lens. That's something that we learned. No, you got to look at it through a racial lens because that's Chicago. Sorry, folks, but I'm not pretending in this post-Obama world that somehow everything is wonderful. So, Charles, am I wrong to say that black kids are expendable in Chicago? It appears to be that black kids are expendable. I mean, looking at this example, it would be that way. But keep in mind, too, black folks are leaving this city by the tens of thousands every year. We can't deny that. And, yeah. So, Charles, I got an email from... I keep getting these, secret documents, but it seems like now CPA, it seems like the alderman has decided that they have to take on the racial issue. They said so I'm looking at this email from the alderman. It says, I see that the NTA parent groups are trying to make a segregation argument. I think we have an answer for that. Should it rear its ugly head at the meeting. But from my perspective, the boundary changes increases diversity at South Loop Elementary School. That's from the alderman. That's from the Third Ward Alderman Pat Dow, yes, talking to Janice Jackson, the number 2 at CPS. But the diversity that it's increasing is for white folks, not for black folks. Right? It's like it's acing the black people out. No? Yeah, you got to do, we've talked about that a lot on this program, how the word diversity, minority, and people of color is used frequently in these kinds of discussions. To get rid of us. Exactly. When they talk because we always end up with the short stick when we talk about all these other groups. I mean, whether they Pacific Islanders or lower Europeans or lower Europeans, subcontinent Asians. I mean, they come up with all these people, but those of us who are the descendants of chattel slaves in the United States, we always end up with little or nothing. Charles, I'm saying, but how, if you see a group of engaged, active parents like this, doesn't it seem like it would make sense to leave them alone? Leave them alone if no one knows what they're doing. But if people all over this city understand this fight, they'll take this fight on as their fight, whether you don't live anywhere near National Teachers Academy, because you can come to their aid. But how do they do that? How does everybody else in the city get mobilized? Hearing us talk about it. So, you know what, I'm wondering if maybe black folks, we can stand gifted black kids, 1 in 4 black kids goes to an underperforming school, and here you have a school where black kids are excelling. As opposed to 1 in 100 white kids going to an underperforming. And now they want to take the school and 1 in every 22 Latino kids going to an underperforming. No, I'm talking about 1 in 22 Latino kids goes to an underperforming school. Oh, right. And but 1 in 4, 25%. Of black children go to an underperforming school. And then they want to close the school that's performing to make it accessible to white folks and Chinese folks. Right. Even though they told us that National Teachers Academy was there to help make sure that the kids that were displaced from the ICKEs and the housing projects and the low income would always have a place to, that's that plan for transformation. And you know what got transformed? Negroes. That's who got transformed. We got transformed to Harvey. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Talk of Chicago at 717. National Teachers Academy. We got to stand with these parents to fight for the education of gifted black youth. We'll talk about that more when we come back at 718.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690
I was about to go back to Kanika Jenkins. Charles, you got the camera. Charles, you got the camera.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you just can't believe the lie. I mean, this is Rahm and the school board, the appointed school board, because the elected school board has been put off. It hasn't been approved yet, actually, but the bill would not make an elected school board possible until 2023. And that's the bill that our good friend Senator Kwame Raoul is shepherding through the General Assembly. But that bill now has an effective date of 2023. The first time you'd be able to elect an elected school board would be in the election of 2023 as opposed to 2019. Huh? See what's going on? See what's going on? Even though people, 3 years ago, what was it, 2015, in the 2015 election, said they wanted an elected school board, the Democratic Party, Cullerton, Madigan, Rahm Emanuel, and Kwame Raoul, they're all conspiring to move that date back to 2023. Even though people said in 2015 that's what they wanted. They got to do it in 2023. They did that. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So the people really don't have a voice through an elected body to deal with this NTA situation. It has to be dealt with by the politicians as they make their deals, which is what goes on around here. And believe me, I'm not, like I said, I'm an independent. But everybody involved in that deal is a D. Huh? I'm telling you, man. That deal, the reason you don't have an elected school board is because of folks with a D. They could have done it in the 2019 city election. Set it up, elected a school board. But no. They want to put it off. They don't want Rahm having to deal with that during a re-election campaign where he would have to oppose it when the people want it. So they took it out of the 2019 election. So he doesn't have to deal with it as an election year issue. Because they all work together in the machine. They scratch your back, I'll scratch yours, you scratch mine. They take care of business. Maze, I'm trying to explain why Madigan, Cullerton, Rahm, and Kwame Raoul moved the election on an elected school board or electing a school board to 2023.
They moved to 2023 because then by all anticipation, Rahm will be gone.
Yeah, but it won't be an issue in this re-election for Rahm.
Exactly. They basically, what they try to do is take all the issues off the board, say it's done, and then it's in work. Remember, it's all stuntery, y'all. Stunts. They got the stuntery down to a science, right? And so Kwame would get to tell you that he was the person who championed the elected school board, right?
But don't blame Donald Trump. Don't blame Donald Trump.
Right.
Don't blame Bruce Rauner.
Right.
Don't blame them. You know who to blame. You blame your boys that you sent there. Who sent you? The voters sent these people to screw them, and they screwing you.
Well, they didn't give you a choice. They make sure you don't. They try to make sure you don't have a choice. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Now, Charles, stay tuned because we're going to be talking to Star Jones. You remember Star Jones? She used to be on The View.
She's the lawyer, right? The one that she lost a lot of weight too, right?
Yes, man. Yeah, she is going to be on the show.
She's been like a media presence.
Yes.
For some
significant
time.
Media presence.
Yeah, I remember her from the first OJ trial. She was in Los Angeles when I was there. And she was working for Court TV at the time.
Oh.
Yeah, that's when I think I actually met her. She probably doesn't remember me, and but because she's gone on to become.
Were you impressed with her physicality?
Man, get out of here. Man, don't you do that. Don't start.
You know what? No diss, no harm, no foul. I take it back. Hey, Charles, plus at 8 o'clock, we will be talking to who some people call the godfather of grassroots basketball, the godfather of the sneaker shoe game, Mr. Sonny Vaccarro. Now, he had his own ESPN 30 for 30, and he's going to be giving us some insight for all these basketball moms that I see every weekend with their kids with every piece of Nike gear, trying to make them go to the NBA and to the NCAA, and he's going to rip the skirt off of all of that.
They call it the league. Yeah, I'm going to the league.
The league, you know. And the kids, you know what though? At 7, 8 years old, man, nowadays these kids are walking around here like they going to the league. Child, but the ones you can always tell the ones, right? Like the special teams, because you know it's the suburban dads and moms sitting in the basketball in the room, but it's them teams that walk in, they pull in with the bus. They come off the bus. I'm talking about, you see, they come off the bus, they got their Beats headphones, they super coordinated, man, they got warm-ups from top to bottom, but it seems like the money game in basketball in sneakers has changed. And, you know, it used to be a dream to go to college to get an education, play basketball to get an education. Man, now these people say skip college. Let's just go get that bag.
I'm going straight to the league. I had a 13, 14-year-old kid tell me that one time. He said, I'm going to the league.
Well,
I said, how about college? Now I'm going straight out of high school.
Amen.
13 years old. He's telling me this. I'm going, wow.
Amen. Well, we're going to talk about the guy we're going to talk to the guy who set this chain of events in motion and find out what he thinks about it now. All right. So, man, I can't wait to talk to Sonny Vaccarro, 7:30. Me, I check out his ESPN 30 for 30 Soul Man if you get a chance. Now, Charles, National Teachers Academy, but Charles, did you see your boys and them had a pep rally yesterday?
Oh, about Amazon?
Amazon.
Right. The governor and the mayor.
And even Queen.
Even the Queen. They all got together to form a united front to get Amazon. And that's impressive to see them all come together. Our government leaders to get this huge, what is it, $5 billion investment by Amazon. And
yes.
These 50,000 jobs, most of those jobs over $100,000 a year.
Well, let me just be clear. Let's be clear. So before black folks get all excited, those $100,000 a year jobs, that's why they keep talking this sanctuary city stuff, right? They trying to recruit them people from India to come over here. Them ain't your $100,000 a year jobs. So before you get all worked up, look, black folks like, man, they got look.
Somebody's got them. You know, the philosophy is on the part of this city, these guys. Well, somebody's got to make these people lunch. Somebody's got to clean up the bathrooms after they mess them up.
That's the Latinos.
Somebody's got to be at the airport to wheel them around.
Latinos.
Huh?
Latinos took that space, bro.
They took that space?
Bro, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but they...
Nah, dog. Nope. Them 50, let me just be clear. Those Amazon jobs, because I saw that, I was like, $50,000, $100,000 a year jobs. Good Lord, that's a lot of money. Woo! We're going to be doing good. I was like, boy, then I started looking around and I was like, you know, 1 in 4 black kids goes to an underperforming school.
Where they going?
Do you take that? Do you take your underperforming diploma to Amazon and say, but look, I got this from a high school right here? They can be like, boy, you better go to the store with that.
Oh.
You better go to the store with that.
They said, well, they are building a warehouse somewhere in the suburbs.
Charles, that's not for us. That's the Latinos.
What?
You know we
out there to get a job. What?
Ain't no public transportation that way, man.
Ooh.
And you know, but that's the trick. See, get you out there, then close the warehouse.
Well, how do the Latinos get there?
They carpool.
They carpool? Maybe we should start carpooling. What? No? You're wrong.
You got tuned in to the Talk of Chicago.
Hey, look, they brought Bowen here a few years ago.
How many people you know work at Bowen?
The brother that was running the show.
Okay.
James Bell. He was the one that I remember.
One you remember.
He was Bowen.
You remember any other black people at Bowen? I ain't seen a black person at Bowen even sweeping outside. You look, that was the one dude.
Man, you know, they didn't have any black folks. Both men, James Bell, man, that guy was cold.
Shout out to
cold running Boeing. My brother.
Right. My brother James Bell.
My Negro.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
I'm with you, James. He was running it, but you know how that works, Charles. You know, once you be the black man at the top, till we reprogram everybody, you be like, hey man, it's cold. Nah, man. I mean, I ain't seen no black folks at Boeing yet.
No, I don't know because I have not seen a roster of their employees. So I can't really tell how many black folks got.
That's a big, tall building. I bet you I bet in that building there ain't even 100 black people working.
Well,
and on staff, they might be cleaning. Maybe
they got new buildings down there surrounding Boeing now, and I will say that on those buildings working, I walk by them a lot because I live downtown, and I never saw any black people working on building them. And I would look hard to find black people building those buildings down there, and I saw nothing. So in the building phase, black folks aren't getting any jobs down there. But I don't know about who's working in the building.
Charles.
Yeah.
Look at my face.
I'm looking at your face, trying hard not to, but I am.
Charles. Now for real.
Okay.
You really think there's some black folks working up in that building? Yeah, it is. It's some administrative assistants, right? Don't you get me started talking about Boeing. You know what? I'm going to be Googling. I'm going to look at you know how they say about us?
About us?
I'm going to look at the about us.
Some black people in that picture.
You think they're going to have a hard cheese?
Do that.
Hard cheese.
The hard cheese working, and they're actors. They got to hire
right. They're like, this is stock photography.
These
look like black people that could potentially work here.
They hire actors for that. But like I said, advertising makes it look like everything's copacetic.
Well, apparently it is not, Charles. We're going to have to come back because we got to talk to Star Jones, but after we talk to Star Jones, we're going to come back to this Amazon because apparently the governor, while he was part of the rah-rah session, he dropped some real science on him. And I think everybody was like, the hell told you? Who gave you that script? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Talk of Chicago, 7:30, news, traffic, and weather is next.
Live from the WVON newsroom.
He was like, yeah, but what about the taxes? How y'all feeling this morning? Good morning. Can y'all take a moment, share the broadcast? Can we get over 100, please, and thank you? Okay, I'm about to go to YouTube right now. Hey, YouTube, I'm coming to spam bust. Charles, you got the camera. You can talk.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of this conversation after we finish with Star Jones. She's promoting something obvious, right? Do I have it here? What she's promoting?
No.
No, I don't have anything. I know you got this under control.
No, you do. You got Star.
I don't know nothing about Star now. I mean, Star Jones. What's she promoting?
You know, our producer is so awesome. Go ahead, keep talking to the
So
people.
often what?
Awesome. Charles, what are we talking about?
No, she's not coming in the studio. She's promoting something. I to be honest with you, I really don't know. She's, she was a surrogate for. Yeah, well, she's gonna have to answer the question. What's in it for the black people and all this? Stop. We're gonna ask her. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. DS. We're gonna ask her. We're gonna ask her. Yeah, this is something that
And now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned.
The man snagged started then. What a guy.
How far do you let me stop. Okay, guys. So I just can't wait to talk to Star Jones. Star, You've organized a power networking event in Chicago. Tell us about it.
What's in it for the black people?
What's in it for the black people? The black.
Whoa. I love this. Hey, man, we can get through this.
Man, we got this. We got this.
Good.
We can't wait. I can't wait to talk to Star. I used to watch her on The View all the time.
I used to watch her on Court TV. She was on the OJ situation.
Wait, what? Is something going wrong with Facebook?
No, I got it clear as a bell.
Right. You know Facebook is putting the clamps on y'all. Facebook is straight hating on us. They ain't even letting us share right now.
Really?
I got to go put some more money back down. Yeah, man.
Put some money down for what?
The advertising.
Well,
I mean, you got.
What is the end? Do you get money from them?
From Facebook?
Are they paying you?
Who?
Facebook.
No. I mean, I can get money from. I mean, my thing is to sell in-show ads. I just haven't done it.
Sell what?
In-show ads. But the $5 is to promote the. I just pay to promote the broadcast. But they're blocking the shares because, guys, you're sharing so much, and the organic. So I told you I met with Facebook, and Facebook said that you should just get rid of the thought of organic in your mind, because anytime they see too much organic growth, then they're going to limit what can be seen unless you advertise. So 2 weeks ago when you saw the advertising, you saw the ads, but we also saw the increase in viewers and in reach to over like 30,000 people. So there's a cost benefit analysis.
What is PDN? It says PDN is a sponsor of the WVON Morning Show. What is PDN? What does that mean?
That ain't a sponsor. I don't know. Who said PDN is a sponsor?
Can you ever see an ad down here?
What do you mean?
On your page, the Maze Jackson page.
I do the advertising on other people's page. I don't advertise on mine. You advertise in the script, and you advertise, and then you give them an audience profile of who you want. So I want black women between the ages of 25 and 64, and then they make sure that many women, they guarantee you a number of women or whoever your audience is to see it. Man, who is the troll on YouTube this time? I just tried to bust 2 of them. Tell me John J. Screw you, John J. Kill yourself. You're gone. I got him. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your man, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, we have on the live line superstar, celebrity, entertainer, lawyer extraordinaire, Miss Star Jones. Now, Charles, she's organized a power networking event in Chicago for October 10th. That's today. Today from 4 to 8 p.m. and she would like to talk to us about what's going on. Hey, Star, how are you?
Good morning. You better stop with all that superstar stuff. I'm just so glad to be on with you guys this morning.
Good morning.
Well, it is great to have you here. We are looking forward to telling us about what you got going on.
I'm excited. Actually, I moved to Chicago
Chicago this past year, and this is now my home base, so I'm one of you, and you all have made me feel so very welcome. Today is our first Power Networking event in Chicago in 2017. It's going to be at the Mid-America Club from 4 to 8 p.m., sponsored by the National Association of Professional Women and AARP. I'm the president of NAPW, and it allows me to bring women from all backgrounds and experiences together to get their networking on. Because you and I both know the boys have the old boys club. Now the girls are doing it for themselves.
Oh, that is awesome. So what can people expect if they come out?
Well, we're going to actually give you some tips on the power of networking. For instance, I'm going to teach you how to do the perfect elevator pitch. There's nothing more important than having 30 to 60 seconds of conversation down to a science so that people know who you are and what you want when you're involved in a conversation. Then you have a couple of educational breakout sessions to give you some real tips for moving your career forward. There'll be some open networking. And we're talking about 200 really savvy professionals. And then the highlight is our keynote experience. Kendall Reynolds, who is the owner and creator of Kendall Miles Shoe Designs, the hottest new shoe line in the United States, according to all the fashion magazines. She is a Chicago native, and she is in her 20s. She's 23 years old and has launched the hot new shoe line. And so we're going to be teaching women about the power of entrepreneurship, doing it for yourself.
Star, a couple of questions. How much does it cost, and what's in it for the black people?
All right, now it's free for NAPW members. It's $99 for non-NAPW members, and you have dinner that is included. So it's a whole evening of networking. But if you want to know what's in it for the black people, there is nothing more powerful than black women aspiring, connecting, and achieving. And I have found throughout my entire career that using networking allows me to do just that. I just came back literally last night in time to get on the phone with you this morning from Paris for a week of superpower networking at the Women's Global Forum meeting. This is an opportunity for me to network with literally 2,000 women from over 70 countries. And the ability to go back and forth with people who represent, say, Coca-Cola, who represent Sodexo, who represent Accor Hotels, who represent Toyota, who represent Apple. These were the kinds of women who are making moves. And African-American women, we have to step outside of our comfort zone and know that you can do anything that you put your mind to, but you have to have the power tools to get it done.
So, Star, you know what? Since we got you on the line, and you're talking about professional black women, give me some thoughts on the Dove ad that came out. What are your thoughts on that? What were they thinking?
Well, here's the problem, though. And my favorite song in Hamilton is "Were You in the Room When It Happened?" I want to know, were you at the table when it happened? Whenever you have a decision like that made, you have to always look back to who is sitting at the table. Who sits around the Dove table? One of the first things I did was, after I saw that ad, is I went to the Unilever website, because that's who owns Dove, to see who's on their board of directors and to see who their leadership is. And your leadership and your creative team is the person that's going to put out your brand persona. I'm very conscious of my brand persona, and I'm positive that Dove does not have somebody there that is focusing on their brand persona, because there is nothing smart about having a black woman wash herself with soap and turn into a white woman. Who thought that would be cool? I still don't know.
You co-sign, ditto, whatever. Thank you.
So, Star, one more time, tell us how women can go to the Power Networking event today.
Power Networking is from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Mid-America Club, and I am hosting. I will be there. I'm looking forward to meeting you. And remember, my tagline is aspire, connect, and achieve. That's how I've done it for 25 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, Star Jones, she's got a Power Networking event today from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Mid-America Club. It is free for women in the NAPW. $99 if you are not a member and are looking to get your black sister network on. Now, does that mean the brothers can't come? Star? Okay, I guess we lost her. All right. So I wanted to, Charles, you know, I've been looking at Facebook Live and I'm seeing brothers saying they want to do some networking with the women too. Can they pay their $99?
Yeah, you know, that's a thought. I wonder. She didn't answer.
No, she had to go, man. She was.
But I guess you could find out online.
Yes, you can check that out online, ladies and gentlemen. Star Jones, Charles. I want to go back to this Amazon press conference.
You know, you look at Mary Emanuel, President Preckwinkle, and Bruce Rauner. All three of them represent governments that are broke as a joke.
It's like murderer's row.
It's like these are like three of the most broke public officials in these United States of America. And you got the state. They even talking about putting $100 million into the Obama library. So if they
where's that money coming from?
And now they're talking about
me,
some incentives because Amazon has made it very clear. Hey, we bringing our bag. What you gonna put up? They said, what? We got you faded, but what you gonna bet? You know what I mean? What are you gonna put up? And these guys, Rahm, Tony Preckwinkle, Queen Sugar, and Bruce Rauner, like they got anything to give to these people?
Yeah, they do, man.
Like what?
Our money, but they got our money. They look, they was looking at y'all like y'all Negroes need to get back to work.
And they're supporting, like, you know, all of them now are on board with the whole sanctuary movement.
The heck?
So they're inviting every undocumented immigrant from around the country, not only Central America and Mexico, but from around the country to be safe.
Around the world.
In Chicago.
The world.
Yeah.
Because those 50...
Around the world, exactly. So they are taking on all of this, and they have no money. And
yes, they do. They have our money.
Man.
Our money, Charles. But let me tell you, your boy Bruce Rauner threw a little monkey wrench in the whole thing yesterday. What
did he say?
Sonia, can you go to Bruce Rauner's audio, please? I'm going to tell you, Bruce Rauner was on the stage and all of a sudden, you know how you been somewhere and you just look at somebody like...
Did you really read it?
Did you really say that? Go ahead, Sonia.
Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, no, not that one. Not that one. The clip from Bruce Rauner at the Amazon yesterday. You got that?
Sorry, a big day yesterday.
I tell you, yeah, you got it.
Hey, but you still can't. I'm still trying to ask. I tried to ask the Black Chamber of Commerce, and I still didn't get no answer. Go ahead, Sonia. You got. You know what? We'll do it when we come back from break. Charles, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. My main man, Charles Thomas. When we come back, we're gonna finish up about this Amazon pep rally conference, whatever it was. But again, Bruce Rauner, he threw a little monkey wrench in plans. Plus, 8 o'clock. If you got a kid that's a basketball hoop star, hoop dreams, you might want to tune in. We're gonna have Sonny Vaccarro. Sonny is the godfather of grassroots basketball and the shoe game. Find out how the guy that brought Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant to the world and almost had LeBron James as well. We'll be back.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson.
Maze, Kelly was so excited about her appearance on the show, she came a day early.
Oh, I'm like, is it you banging on the door? I'm like, we trying to do a show. I'm not just see the windows banging. Hi, Kelly, how are you?
Who is this now?
Kelly Fair from Polished Pebbles. Oh, so she has a great mentor. You might as well come in and say hello on the camera. Say here right now.
Preview the camera.
Here.
Oh, the camera. Say hello. Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Fair from Polished Pebbles stopped in. She's going to be here tomorrow. If you were watching the broadcast, and I was like, who is banging on my window? It was Kelly Fair, but she had a great gala. Tell people what you do.
So I'm the executive director and founder of Polished Pebbles Girls Mentoring Program, Chicago-based Girls Mentoring Program, and we have gotten a celebration started. We had this past weekend. Maze was there to celebrate the United Nations International Day of the Girl, which is tomorrow. So we'll be talking about that and how we serve girls here in Chicago, Indiana, Texas, and also Duke University, and how girls here in the South Side and all over the world need to be acknowledged, supported, and nurtured.
So it's pretty awesome. You know, we talked a lot about, you know, I always talk about, we were talking about Kanika Jenkins a lot, and I think that regardless of how that came out, I think that we've got to talk about providing mentorship and positive role models for our black women and men. Absolutely. And Kelly is doing that, and she's from our generation doing it. So stay tuned. She'll be here tomorrow. And don't be bamming on the window. It's all right. All right, thank you. And do you know Charles? You should meet Charles Thomas.
Nice to meet you. Let's see you tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. Don't do it.
I ain't doing a thing, man. You ain't got me on, dude.
No. I'm hold on. Okay. Don't you worry about it. Was a really good event, though. You know what? I think she was actually, you know, I was thinking about all the stuff that happened with Kanika Jenkins. And regardless of kind of how we joked it and punned it or whatever, what I do recognize is that there are so many black girls that have not even had an example of a positive black woman. And so it was pretty cool to see so many professional sisters from so many different walks of life actually taking time out to mentor. And you saw those little girls coming through the event, and it was just...
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of them out there like that. I mean, but we have focus on, you know, those that aren't doing what they do. And they might, and the ones like that might even be a minority at this point. But that doesn't mean we don't focus on them.
Yeah, no. Let me talk and then do it.
You know, we have to focus on the young women that you're talking about as well as the young men. There has to be a new focus, man. We have to change the narrative of who we are holding up. Which ones are we holding up? And they might be the minority at this point. I get that. But that doesn't mean that we got to stop holding up those young people that, yeah, it's subjective, are doing the right thing, that those of us who are older can see because of our path and where we've been, what succeeds and what doesn't succeed. We know that, and we know the qualities in young people who are on a path to success. If we recognize that, we got to prop them up. There's just no doubt about that. And we can't be excusing stupid behavior on the part of young people. We can't. We have to be adults about it. A lot of people got on me because of my reaction to the kids at the party in the hotel. They jumped me like crazy on that. But I'm telling you, it is what it is. I ain't promoting that. I am not promoting what I saw. I'm promoting the young people that you saw at Saturday night. I want to promote them. I want to put those kids as role models for other kids even. Because I know the path. I know what works and I know what doesn't work at this point.
That is funny. She was about to get cursed out too, and I'm so glad I didn't get a bad attitude because I was like, "Are you really?"
Did you recognize her when she came to the door?
I thought I kind of did. I wasn't sure, but it was just like, "Are you really bamming on the window while I'm doing this broadcast?" And I heard it, so it's just like, yeah, I you know what? I'm attitudinal in the morning because I really do try to take this serious. But anyway, Kelly's doing great stuff, so we got to highlight her and support her. And support black, you know, we gotta support black folks doing good stuff. And so that is really my thing. We want to be able to give a platform to people that are doing good things, as well as, because, you know, if you were to listen, you'd probably think that if you were to read the papers, look around, you would think that there's no black people doing nothing good. And I would tell you that there are so many black people doing so many good things out here. And we got to highlight them. All right, let's go. We back. Up and boogie down. Feeling this are the times. We're the party people night and day. Living crazy, that's the only way. So tonight, gotta leave that 9 to 5 up on the shelf and just enjoy yourself. Ooh, let the modest and the music get to you. Life ain't so bad at all if you live it off the wall. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. All right, 8 o'clock, Sonny Vaccarro, king of the grassroots basketball. You don't want to miss it. But Charles, hey man, so they putting a full court press on Amazon to bring them to Chicago, and so yesterday, or to Illinois, and yesterday, Charles, Mayor Emanuel, Bruce Rauner, and Tony Preckwinkle have to be three of the most unpopular people in the state of Illinois. We're all on stage together, and they were trying to show a unified effort, and then the governor did this.
Let's send a message that all of us in Illinois are committed together to keeping our taxes down and reasonable and keeping our regulations competitive. I'm hearing this from Amazon. This is not coming from me. I'm hearing from Amazon and other business owners.
Basically, the governor said Amazon ain't coming here with this bogus tax system y'all got.
Bogus tax system, the sugar tax and bag tax and all the stuff that they've been doing. They're not going to come there. I mean, and you got to, at some point, the state Illinois has to come to grips with what the stuff it's been doing has not been working.
Hey, you know what I was just thinking?
People are leaving here.
Let me ask you a question. Who you think is going to get Amazon as a property tax appeals client? The speaker or Edberg? Right? Like, I think they like land Amazon. Look, they said, look, y'all Amazon, y'all come here and we will take your taxes out of the poor people's ass. Don't worry. You all come here, you hire one of us. Look, Donald Trump did it.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is represented by one of our leaders.
Was that Edberg?
Yes.
Yeah, Edberg.
Green team, man. They eat.
Green team went on the other side to get that bag, then came back and told you people, I'm down with the poor. I want to tax the rich. You know, they always say that. I ain't never
Charles. I ain't never heard Ed Burke say that.
Okay.
You better stop that. Ed Burke, I'm going to tell you what, if it's anybody I respect in the game, because let me tell you, he looked you dead in your face and tell you.
Sorry, Alderman. Yeah. Sorry, Alderman. But I mean, I'm talking about in general.
Right.
They do that. Let's tax the rich. The Dems do that. They do it at their convention. They were really good at the Democratic convention last time around about taxing the rich. Oh, we're going to tax them.
Charles, all the rich people live in the south suburbs. You ain't know? In Ford Heights.
Yeah.
They live in Robbins, man.
The highest effective tax rate, property tax rate in Illinois.
Them black people out there must be eating good. They making money.
Yeah, that's the rich.
That's the rich black folks, boy.
Ford Heights.
But Charles, really, who you think is gonna get Amazon? If we got Amazon, do you think this? You think the speaker or somebody called him up and said, I can help you with your taxes?
I'm sure.
Hey, man, you get that post office, man. That's about $250 million. I get that reduced. We just put it on the people in the south and west sides and south suburbs. Spread it out a little bit. Share the pain. We'll let everybody share the pain.
It might be, maybe they could do something. No, they can't do anything about the sales tax because Amazon.
Yeah, they can. They can raise it.
Well, they can raise it, right? But I mean, I'm thinking about tax incentives they can give to Amazon. Like they wouldn't have to pay any property taxes. Maybe income taxes, they could cut them a deal.
No, they're just gonna say, hey, we'll just take some. No, they're gonna say we'll take it out of the. We're gonna call the people in the south suburbs and on their way to work, we're gonna just take another 20 cents out of every one of their checks. They won't miss it.
Or maybe they could put that. You know, they've actually talked about doing the same thing they do in London, which means they charge you to drive into the city.
What if Amazon, and then they tell Amazon, but for your workers, if you take the post office, we'll stop it on the other side of the post office.
Could do. I mean, there are a lot of things, but Amazon has made it very clear it wants incentives, some financial commitment on the part of the host city. In this place, man, where are they going to get the money? And you say,
out your pocket, Charles.
Out your pocket, man.
The south suburbs.
We balked at the pop tax. People mad when they go to the store for the bag tax. He's trying to get a cell phone tax. He needs another school tax, Amazon or not. So where are we getting this money from? I'm tapped out. I'm tapped out.
Hey, man.
On the tax tip,
hey, man.
I am tapped out.
You know what I've been watching, The Deuce? You know, you watch the Mac. But what they say, get back on that corner.
Like,
so they
just get me my money.
Right. They don't care how we get it. They like, oh, but we gonna put these Negroes back on the corner. If Amazon come, Negroes, get your skirts. Because I'm telling you,
got on the track.
You got to work. Get your skirts, get your pumps, because they are about to put us back on the stroll. We got to pay Amazon now. On the movie, man, they was trading. We getting ready to get traded to Amazon now, right? They traded us to Trump Tower, took tax out of us. Right. Taxpayers.
Give up the money.
Taxpayers, we are about to be again. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to have Amazon, but I want to just be clear for the black folks that was licking their chops. They was like, did you see them 50,000 jobs at 100,000 each? Black people, them jobs not for you. That is, those people when you call your iPhone, and you got to talk to somebody in a different country. Mm-hmm. That's who those jobs are for. Those jobs ain't for black folks.
Well, there's a lot of young people moving in from the regional colleges and universities. They aren't black people. There a lot of white college graduates are moving into the city, without a doubt. And you've got a lot of lower end service workers among the undocumented who are moving into the city. So you're going to have very rich, very poor.
And black people, we're going to be very gone. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson, my main man, Charles Thomas. When we come back, Sonny Vaccarro, Mr. Basketball, will be back. 7:59.
Talk of Chicago and the
Charles, you got the camera.
1690 WVON, Chicago.
We're in store for a rainy Tuesday as temperatures climb near 60.
Charles, you got the camera.
Network news now, weather and traffic.
Yeah, this is easy. This is easy. And then the poor people are going to be living in the suburbs. That's the other part of the plan.
California's deadly wildfire.
And the suburb neighborhoods are going to go down.
So far in California,
The Raunermator. Yeah, that's all right. Like the Terminator.
Cal Fire Chief Ken Pimlott says firefighters are having.
No, it's going to be. They expect us to go back to Mississippi, Texas, whatever. They want to reverse Great Migration, and they're getting the leading edge of it without a doubt. I mean, the new plantation is going to be in the north, outside the big cities. And you also keep in mind too is that as far as this thing being a racial phenomenon, working class white people have also been driven out of the city of Chicago. They don't exist here anymore. When I say working class, I'm talking about blue collar white people. They don't live in the city anymore. All that area out there around Midway Airport, white folks out there no more. Think about some of the neighborhoods up north and what's happened to them. Albany Park, places like that, where white people grew up, they're gone. So it's not just happening to black people. This economic displacement, it's a whole phenomenon that's happening not only in Chicago but in cities all over the country. The poor people being moved out, college-educated white people, and of all college-educated people generally who take white-collar jobs are moving in. Factories, they are coming back to the cities. I haven't seen any coming back. It's a phenomenon, but as black people move to the suburbs, we have to begin to reorganize our political base in those places. And that's where we have to project our power, our political power.
With Kronos HCM, you get a unified platform built around a single employee record. One interface across all applications for easy data entry, real-time updates, simplified reporting, and better employee engagement. HCM that works for your business. Learn more at kronos.com/HCM. Kronos.
Oh, Charles, keep on. I'm not done.
Yeah, my brother, man, he's talking. Anthony Muhammad.
Anthony is the man.
He's talking about a new majority black city proposed to be called Greenhaven. Which would be the second largest city in Georgia. That's interesting. That's in Georgia. Yeah, Chicago could think about that when they talk about, I know the governor has talked about, one of his pitches has been to consolidate, get rid of a lot of the government subdivisions in Chicago in Illinois for that matter, because Illinois has the most government subdivisions, suburbs, school districts, park districts, sewer districts and such in the country. We have all these little units of government. He has proposed consolidating them into many fewer units of government. And let's think of the south suburbs, for instance, consolidating into one government, a separate city, getting rid of the township governments, which are pretty much just for the political hacks, who for the most part are white, and starting to form a new suburban city. I know I'm getting way out now, but I mean, that is one way to find a different way to project black political power, because right now when we live in all these little suburbs, you know, and we elect all these different little people, none of them have any real power. But when you think about what our children might have to do and grandchildren might have to do, is form a separate political unit in the south or west suburbs where majority black people live, to have some control over our lives and our political and our tax dollars and what we do in our business communities, and to deal from that standpoint as black people. Because right now, as black people leave the city and move into all these little different suburban subdivisions, it's going to be hard to bring people together politically, to have that one unified voice. That's an interesting concept, Anthony. I'm glad you brought it to the table. What this whole notion of Greenhaven in Georgia, and what could happen in Illinois, particularly in the Chicago suburbs, where we are being moved.
This traffic report is brought to you by Compassion International. The future is bleak for a child living in poverty. No school, no dreams, no hope. But you can change all that when you become a Compassion Child sponsor. Just a little more than $1 a day brings hope. Find out how at compassion.com/radio. WVON traffic and weather now.
It's cold in here, y'all. All right, y'all. Did anybody watch Shoe Game on the 30 for 30? Man, and you know what? There's another documentary I was just watching on Netflix about the AAU, like this whole, bro. Woo! This guy's son, like he was talking about, he makes his son plays 100 tournaments a year. Flying him, pulling him out of school. It's like the LeVar Balls of the world. Like, is that bad? Do you think like it's bad to like, I feel like they sell these kids a dream real early. Like when I go to, like, it's very clear, like the parents at Beverly are all like, you ain't making the NBA, but you should have a great time playing basketball. The teams we play, like every parent thinks their kid is going, and I'm talking about
What teams they play? Are they predominantly black?
Yeah, they play like these AAU teams. It's a mixed team, and there's a mixture. Like you can see the inner city teams. Man, they play. There was a Blackish episode on. Oh, sorry guys, it's time. Shout out to Jacob Israel. Flex. Flex. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. 8 o'clock, you know what time it is. Got to get the stretch on. That's right, it is yoga. We do it every day at 8 o'clock. Now, cannot do the WVON Morning Show without the Morning Show team. Got to say what's up to Annette. Triceps popping, Flournoy, and Annette. You know, you wear a lot of Nike, so you're going to enjoy this interview. Stay tuned, because we're going to talk about how Nike got to prominence. Plus, we've got our musical director, the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. That's right, Miss Sonia Escobar. Sonia, you got that smooth yoga going on. Todd was in there. I told Todd I'm going to bring in a real yogi. Maybe we get Tammy Matthews or somebody come on in and do yoga for us live on stage. Charles, it's time, man. I've been talking about this for a long time, and I'm pretty excited just because I watched 30 for 30. I've known about this guy for years and years and years, but when I saw the NCAA scandal break 2 weeks ago and Rick Pitino.
The latest NCAA scandal, by the way.
Yes.
Not anything really unusual.
Rick Pitino got fired, who was probably one of the superstar coaches of all time. Then you saw major NCAA programs admitting to working through the AAU system to pay cash to players. And it hit me kind of hard, Charles, because my kid plays AAU basketball, and every weekend I see black moms and dads hoping for their kid to get that chance to the NBA, selling them the dream. Charles, you got that suspect look on your face.
I do, because, I mean, I know several fellow parents and grandparents who have young people in AAU, and I'm noticing how they're getting soaked. These people are promoting this dream of professional basketball, that your kid is exceptional, but you're also paying to get the kid to tournaments. You're paying for all kinds of other stuff, all the attendant accessories and everything else they need, including travel and everything else, to get them to these games. And you're paying. There's money, there's out-of-pocket money that's happening here.
But Charles, that's for us suckers, right? Because on the other side of the game, apparently there are people that are getting paid to be in those tournaments, in those AAU. Charles, you know, you see them. The guys that get off the bus, they got the Beats headphones, they got the coordinated uniforms.
They're being paid by the shoe companies.
Well, you know what?
Who else? And who else?
Let's talk to the godfather of the basketball, sneaker basketball culture. He is the most famous shoe and sneaker executive. Ladies and gentlemen, join us in welcoming Sonny Vaccarro to the WVON Morning Show. Sonny, how are you today?
I'm fine. Good morning to you guys. I'm 6 o'clock on the West Coast. You're 8 o'clock in Central Time, and I was enthralled by the opening with the music. I'm not in tune, but I love music of all kinds. And the two of your discussion prior to getting me on, and I'm looking forward to this, mate. Very, very much.
Well, Sonny, I want to tell you thank you very much for getting up early with us, and it is a huge honor. I want to send a big shout out to Donnie Kirksey for helping us coordinate this as well. But Sonny, they call you the most famous shoe and sneaker executive, also the godfather of basketball sneaker culture. How'd you get that name?
I have no idea. Someone else gave it to me, man. I didn't. My mother christened me John Paul Vincent Vaccarro. So a long time ago, things, you know, as nature does, and you know, especially in the sports culture, we have to have, you know, titles, I guess. And it came about through my involvement with basketball, with sports, primarily. Then, you know, it extended to Nike and doing shoe deals for coaches, and then the famous Michael Jordan days, and then on and on and on. And here I am at 78 years old, still fighting and climbing the rainbow, maze.
But Sonny, when it comes to basketball, you know what I've been saying, your name, AAU at every level, and it really gets no bigger. But how does a guy from Pittsburgh become like the undisputed champion of basketball black sport, and you don't really hear too much about black folks in basketball in Pittsburgh. How does this happen?
I have no idea, except in 1965, a bunch of parents, mostly black parents, gave Sonny Vaccarro an opportunity to do an all-star game, and then it morphed into the whole United States. And most of my life, I've been dealing, and I was 25 at that time, I believe, Mace, and it morphed. And in Pittsburgh in the 60s and 70s and 80s, they had as many good players as the other cities. What happened to Pittsburgh, they went into a drought. Pittsburgh always was and still is a very good football situation. But there were kids in the 60s like Timmy Hill and Norm Van Leer. The great Norm Van Leer is one of my favorite friends who passed away, and I was close to him to his death. And Kenny Durrett and great players like that. And, that's how it did. And I got my start by going to the leagues, mostly black-oriented. In the 60s, the most famous places to go were, like the Osnam League, the St. Cecilia's in Detroit. And when I was, 25 years old, that's where I was doing it. And there was no internet there. I'd get in a car and go there. It was a phone call, and, the Dust Bowl in Louisville. So basically, I got my start, through the black community with the athletes. And I always, my mind works differently, Maze, and looking at it after all these years and trying to still figure me out is pretty consistent. I always thought that an athlete or anyone of superior talent in the arts, whatever the arts would be, I wanted to promote. And I got in love with basketball. I did not play basketball. I did everything else, I guess, in high school, and it was pretty fair at doing that. But basketball gave my start in inner city, and I'll never forget those days. And then the time takes its toll, and you go through life, and it morphs into one of the biggest industries in the world. And I know what your co-host, I'm sorry, I don't know his name.
Charles Thomas.
Okay, thank you, sir. But what it morphed into was what he said earlier on what not AAU and not summer basketball. In fact, you can call it AAU because I don't call ours was summer basketball, and ours was all-star games and camps, and that's what I did. And by intent, my intention always was to give the supreme athlete a platform and go back to the 60s where my mindset started. At that time, the greatest black athletes in the world were playing, in high schools who were not synonymous with, a lot of other things other than the black community, okay? But these kids were, as time is told, historically is told, and also all the great ones, that went to all the black basketball colleges, and they were segregated there without even saying segregation. You all know that in football. And the joy I get sometime in growing old is watching how it's taken about 60, 70, 80 years to get some of the greatest players ever to, be in a Hall of Fame that's, a popularity contest. So I've watched the evolution, but my idea always was to give the platform to the great athlete. I have no doubt about that. And my dream morphed into something bigger than that when we did tournaments in Las Vegas, and starting in the 90s, when thousands of kids would start coming. But what happened was, to come to see the great athletes, they also come to see the kids like you and I, growing up, and they got scholarships. So it's a little misleading. It's a little misleading how it all morphed. But I've seen it all. There's no question about that. And there's no question.
So is it a good thing now, though, the way it's run? Sonny,
young fella, it's a good thing in the sense that it gives activity. What has gotten into, and I saw the thing on HBO, I believe it was at Showtime, that it's a $19 billion industry now for summer sports, not just basketball, it's softball, girls teams, and everything like that. But that's what America does. I mean, it is a business. What we can't separate in America is what the leagues that kids play in as they get older. You are absolutely right in your connection to the listeners, driving down the freeway right now, in the sense that parents pay, right out of their noses to get this opportunity for the dream. I would hope the dream would have been just to get a scholarship somewhere, but if they start as young as what I know they start, and you probably are learning, young man, in the sense that sometimes they put as much money into these tournaments and all these accessories, as you would call them, that they weren't just paying their child's way to go to college.
Hey, Sonny, let me stop you right there. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Sonny Vaccarro. He is the godfather of basketball sneaker culture. We're going to also, Sonny, when we come back, we want to talk about the Dapper Dan tournament, and then how the Dapper Dan tournament, you go from that to signing Michael Jordan and taking on the NBA. We'll talk about that when we come back.
More of the morning show with Mace Jackson coming up.
Man, you should hit them with the who are some of those basketball players though? Like that do you know, like, who were the great basketball players that never got their shine? Are there? Like, do you think there are great basketball players?
Oh, that guy you play here, Ronnie Fields. Man. You know,
Ronnie Fields could dunk. Could he ball?
No, I mean, I think at the time he was coming up. I mean, he was a special kind of player, but didn't have that, didn't have
that push.
Well, I don't think he had the cultural underpinning to really, family underpinning. I'm serious. Family, everything, and he just couldn't make that leap into the next level.
He plays in our league now.
Huh?
He has teams in our league now.
Yeah, but he didn't make that leap. That leap didn't happen.
Ooh. All right, y'all.
Calling me a young fellow, man. I'm a young fellow.
To him, he 80 something. He damn near 70.
He's 80, but I'm somebody's grandfather.
I know. You know, that's how I feel when everybody be like, "You young people." I be like, "Y'all do realize I'm about to be 50, right?" Like they be like, "Young man." DS, you should look up Sonny Vaccarro. Any basketball, any AAU, any NBA. Man, this is the dude who, when the NBA told Michael Jordan he couldn't wear Jordan in the game, he had to wear the NBA stuff, he sued the NBA and won. Y'all don't know if y'all remember, but when Michael Jordan first came to the league, he was flamboyant, right? He had the gold chains. He was doing the extra. And the league was like, hold on. You ain't wearing that red and black. You ain't doing all that extra stuff. Then, you know that there was a whole industry created. Actually, AAU and all that stuff was created because the whole premise was to find the next Michael Jordan. Right? So, Nike, Adidas, all of them, they all paid these basketball guys around the country to be in high school basketball games to find the next Michael Jordan. They thought Tracy McGrady was going to be it. Sonny also was the person who convinced Kobe Bryant, straight out of high school, to sign with the Lakers. But his premise was to make the shoe deal lucrative enough to get the player to come to the league. And now as they continue, they keep trying to go younger and younger because the shoe companies want to lock in. If they think you could be, and they take you to these high levels at a very early age, and then if you don't pan out, they drop you. So pay attention to all, like Chicago is populated with former superstar not superstar, but very high level basketball players that now did not make the league, but watch them. They're all trying to coach a high school team. They're all trying to coach an AAU team because they're all looking for the lick, right? They're all looking to find one guy that goes to the league that they can broker their future. Some of them are able to do. That's why you see the connection between AAU coaches and high schools and kids going to certain high schools because they can play on the AAU coach team. Charles, we're back. Skip ball, we're like a basketball. We're playing basketball. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. And we are talking to basketball legend. They call him the most famous shoe executive ever, the godfather of the sneaker, of the basketball sneaker culture. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny Vaccarro. Now, Sonny, you were telling us about this progression of basketball, and Charles, I agree, we're getting soaked. Because, man, my son hits me up every week. He need pants, and anytime an NBA player shows up with something, I got to buy it. But, Sonny, before all of that, there was the Dapper Dan tournament. Talk to me about how you got from the Dapper Dan tournament to signing Michael Jordan.
I had an idea, and my next-door neighbor in Italian, especially in those, every fellow Italian was your cousin, cousin. And Pat and I grew up together. In fact, we rented a little thing, my mother and dad, I was the first child of two, next door to him. He grew up to be one of the great rock and roll promoters of all time in Pittsburgh, and he actually helped bring the Beatles to Pittsburgh. He was starting his career. We both graduated from Youngstown State University, and I had an idea to do a high school all-star game. Never been done before. There was no McDonald's. We were 13 years ahead of McDonald's. And here I was, this kid from Pittsburgh. I was 24, as I said. Said, what happens if we get all the best high school players in America? And, of course, that year with the famous, Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I wanted to get him to be my headliner. I had no idea who these kids were. I had never seen anyone outside of Pittsburgh play before Dapper Dan. I'd take teams to a place in Pennsylvania called Sharon Hoyle Tournament, and that was the forerunner of really what AAU is today, or summer basketball. But another story is, I had this idea. I contacted kids on phones. I read Pre-A magazine, and I saw who was the high school players of the year in their states, and I invited them to Pittsburgh and sent an airplane ticket, and Lord and behold, the kids showed up, and I'll never forget those days, and that's really what happened. I had the best kids in Pennsylvania against the 10 best kids in America. Kareem didn't show up because his coach never told him about it, but I did end up with some great players, that went on to be All-Americans and, and pros and all that sort of thing. And as I said, Norman Van Leer and Simmy Hill played one of the great high school teams of all time, played my game, from Midland, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania won. We had 10,336 fans, and my life started.
So Sonny, how does that get you to Michael Jordan? Right? How does that get you to Michael Jordan in the NBA?
Well, the game started me. I knew every coach in America because we had close to 300 coaches who would come to the Pittsburgh Civic Arena. It had just been opened, and 10,000 was its capacity, and today it's 17,000. All the coaches count, so I knew all the coaches in America. I was running a summer camp to make a couple of dollars in Pennsylvania at that time after Dapper Dan. I started skirting the world, and I guess I became, this person that ran this high school game that everybody wanted to recruit. I was all college coaches, so I knew everybody in college basketball. And they worked my camp, they came to the game. So I morphed into, I bring a design situation to Nike in 1976, 77. A shoemaker friend of mine, Italian kids from my hometown, designed some shoes, tennis shoes, because kids in my camp said, Mr. Vaccarro, and I'm playing on words, Mr. Vaccarro, why can't tennis shoes be more, applicable, I guess the word is there. So I bring these shoes in, I start them, but we signed the college coaches, and then college pro, we had every college in America in the 80s. We won 7 national championships, we being Nike. In that interim time, 1984, okay, they said we're going to get a supreme basketball player, which they had players, but no one ever marketed anybody, Mace, in the 80s, and especially athletes. There was no marketing the way we know it today.
So why Mike?
Well, here I am. So now they call me into a meeting. Now, I ran a basketball program. I was making a couple of bucks working with Nike, doing college basketball and high school basketball. They have this meeting. All the big wigs are there, and I'm there. First time I was ever invited into a thing. And they said, we have $500,000 to distribute among NBA players. We're going to sign one big one this year, and that year's draft, that coming year. And we went, come in here, Sonny, and we'll talk about it. And that was a great draft. Bart Luden and John Stockton, 4 or 5 guys, I guess, made the Hall of Fame, and it was super great. And Bowie got drafted by Portland Trailblazers, and there was a push on to take him because Portland was the home city of Nike. And I just said, when they asked me my opinion, I said, give all the money to the kid being Michael Jordan. I had seen him once in my life prior to that. That's when they beat Georgetown. I was rooting for Georgetown because John and I were very, very close, and I knew everybody on the Georgetown team. And but I'll remember that to this second. And there's no other application of my mind thought other than I thought this kid had it. And as my life played out, I was pretty good at figuring out who the its were. And that's why we signed, over the objection of other people, but they did listen to me. And even though I have my Phil and I have had differences over the years, the man allowed me the opportunity to make these decisions and gave me the money to pay the athletes. That's why Michael Jordan is, because I believed in him without knowing him. Never met him.
Sonny, but he broke the mold as it related to the shoe endorsement deal. When he broke that mold, how did that change the game? Because it seems like after that, shoe deals exploded.
There is no mold. There's this thing, a cloud from heaven that creates some things, and then this cloud comes down on earth, and they create a whole different world. That was Michael Jordan. First of all, it was a black athlete that was going to be promoted by a white company in an industry that wasn't even growing at that time. It was just starting to morph because basketball, as I said, wasn't really the main thing. A year before that, they were doing the NBA Finals on tape delay in the East Coast. But Michael, to Nike's credit and Phil's credit, and Rob Strauss brought me in. They took my word for it. That's what happened. But Michael changed everything in a thousand ways. I mean, despite me, a black man doing a black man's commercial for national TV, Michael not being allowed to wear those shoes by the NBA helped us in that famous commercial. One of the most famous, when he just stood against the chain fence, said, the NBA won't let me, but you can do it. And Michael is a charismatic figure that's not portrayed that way in any way, because charismatic to me is when someone connects to people that don't know who the heck you are, and they walk down the street and they have a liking for it. That's Michael Jordan. He's not the most outgoing person, even today. I mean, but he has that it, and he had it, and no one will ever have it. We have some great athletes. We don't have time to go into that.
Sonny,
go ahead.
Let me ask you a quick question here. It seems like the Italian guys and everybody and Phil Knight and everybody is making money off the black athlete. But it doesn't seem like there was ever an opportunity for them to take control of their own destiny. When do you think that happened? Let's talk about that when we come back after traffic and weather.
Live from the WVON newsroom, here's our news now.
Oh, God.
Rain is making its way in our area as temperatures climb into
But hasn't Michael Jordan taken control of his image?
Michael Jordan, Mike, he was the beginning of that, right? And then it was Mike, then you saw Tracy McGrady, Kobe, he signed Kobe, Tracy McGrady, and that's when they all started changing. Then when LeBron came, LeBron was just like, he grew up in a culture where it was like, you can control your own future. He had LeBron too.
But LeBron, he does, for the most part. And, it's almost like, play the Temptations. Play the Temptations, It's Growing. It seems like LeVar Ball is taking control of the situation right now. I can see the growth from when Michael became the first shoe endorser, and all these guys now pretty much have control over that part of their celebrity. At least some control, certainly more control, because they're making more money on shoe deals than they are playing the game. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody is successful at it, certainly, but a lot of them are. I think it was kind of like, it goes to the premise of the question that they aren't, but when in fact a lot of them are today, or many more of them are today. And there certainly is no excuse today for not taking control of that part of your celebrity. I mean, I think Nike certainly is a vehicle. I mean, to make the money, but these guys are making money off their celebrity. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, so he said, man, he said control him in the interview. He was like, he'll get in and out whenever you interrupt him and say, I'm talking too long on this. Because I was just like, man, bro, you're running long on me on some of these things. So,
yeah, he is, man.
Yeah,
he's going forever.
So I think he said, well, he know that you can just interrupt him if he's going too long in the space. Sonny, I just want to talk to him. So he was like, because we got to get Kobe and LeBron. And then I told him to make that short, and then I want to get to the money transfer at AAU. Oh, my goodness. So, y'all know, after Michael Jordan, all the shoe companies, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, all decided that they were going to create these grassroots basketball programs because the whole goal was to find the next Michael Jordan. And so there was a plethora. It started with them hiring scouts who would go to every high school basketball game and identify talent, etc. Then what they decided to do was create the leagues so that they could have all of the people come to them instead of them having to send out people, and then they would own certain teams and invest in certain teams, and then the coaches would go out and do the stuff that NCAA coaches couldn't do, right? Which is bring them and they pay the coaches of the AAU teams and pay them with gear, stuff, all. Man, whew, long story. What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling this morning? All right, let's see who's there. Good morning, DS. What up, DeMarco? What up, Patah? Do you like the Star? I hated Starberry. What's up, Toussaint? The problem with LeVar Ball is I tried to order some shoes, man. They still ain't came. Right? I spent the $4.95 because I was just trying to support the black business. I still ain't got the shoes, though.
Like $495?
Yes.
Are you shitting me, really?
Yeah.
$495 for some gym shoes?
Yeah.
Really? What are they going to do?
Wait, man.
What do they do?
I was supporting a black business. I felt
like black business that rips you off?
Hey, man, when I get my money. If I would have got my shoes, I wouldn't have been ripped off. So now I'm upset.
No, but I'm saying I think even with buying the shoes, you ripped off.
But that's, everybody. I think everybody has their choice of what they spend their money on.
I get that. I get
right.
that.
So I'm just saying everybody has their choice of what they spend. I like shoes. So if I choose to invest in shoes because they're an exclusive line, that's what I do. What up, Maurice Newman? What up, Nate? What up, Maria? Yeah, MJ changed the game because he increased the value. I didn't realize that endorsements weren't as big of a deal until after Mike. Like, I didn't realize that people was getting like $5,000 and $10,000. I didn't realize it wasn't multi-million-dollar or at least multi-$100,000 deals. I didn't realize, like, when a person got a sponsor, like a endorsement deal, that they wasn't getting that much money. I didn't even realize that people playing in the NBA wasn't making no money. Really? In the early. No, I mean, I think about like a Bill Walton and all. Not Bill Walton, but even the biggest guys didn't make that much back in the day. Like, think about it. Michael Jordan made what, like $1 million a year, all them years, and then they finally paid him $25. But that's when they got the big TV deal. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson, but every day at the 8:30 break, it's Charles's Choice. Charles, take it away.
Yeah, that's the Temptations, obviously. You can never go wrong with the Temptations. But I gotta ask a question of Mr. Vaccarro. He's there, right? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I want to know what you think of how LeVar Ball is handling his sons in terms of marketing them.
I think what he's done marketing is brilliant, personally. Sometimes he goes off the other side with what his role should be after that. And I say that to you, and you're probably shocked, that he basically sucked the air out of all the other athletes in last year's draft on endorsement deals and everything, because what you talked about is what he wanted to achieve. Everyone talking about his son and, the Ball brothers and, the company and that. Well, he succeeded in doing that by being the way he is. That is his personality. So you're talking about other realms, you may go into that, but sticking on what I watched, he did a marvelous job. Now, all the young man has to do now is be a very, very good player, which I think he will with the Lakers, which I think he got a great break on playing for the Lakers. They will sell the shoes. Now, the $4.95 is up to the public, not me, but I've seen a morphing of, where money goes and how much someone will spend on anything. And a pair of these shoes in particular, basketball shoes, that industry is amazing. I mean, so you got your shoe heads, so, people who just pay obscene prices for whatever new comes out. But as far as one thing, no one ever got as much publicity other than LeBron James going into a shoe contract in my lifetime.
And hey, and Sonny, speaking of LeBron James, you were involved in that, and LeBron almost signed with Adidas.
That was my biggest disappointment, and it was one of my nicest journeys in my life. I knew Gloria, his mom, and LeBron and Maverick and all those kids growing up. I mean, it was a recruiting thing for me. I knew who he was from a sophomore year on. I spent a lot of time with them. Going to Cleveland and being involved. We sponsored their high school team and all that sort of stuff. But I knew them personally. I knew Gloria. Gloria is one of the most fascinating human beings, LeBron's mother, because at the time, when all this was going on, there weren't a lot of nice things being said about LeBron personally. They had rules in Cleveland that somehow he violated. I know we don't have time, but yes, that was one of my biggest thrills and one of my biggest disappointments. But to this day,
why didn't LeBron go to Adidas?
Because the number I put on the contract, that's what I did. I had the power everywhere I worked to give you what your value was according to me, and the company I worked for would follow me. I gave the value to LeBron right after his high school season personally. He was going to get $100 million. He was going to get $10 million a year for 10 years. That was obscene and unheard of in 2002, 2003. But I knew the value of him, and the people that ran Adidas gave me their word that they would do it. So I had the authority to tell him, and his mother, and at that time he didn't even have an agent. I mean, the family was handling everything. That part didn't concern me because I was close, and I remember all the little things that happened in Cleveland during the thing. We are close. I mean, there's no question about it.
Sonny, $10 million a year for 10 years for a high school athlete? Who would make that kind of investment in a high school kid?
Everybody. What Nike did after they didn't listen to me. I mean, I think the problem with the world we live in and the world I lived in, starting from the 60s, is everyone treated money as some obscene thing. How do you recollect? How do you get to that? Well, eventually we got to everything. Who would ever thought that Michael Jordan would own half of Nike? I mean, when we did this in '84. I mean, money is relevant only to the success of what it brings into the people spending the money. The corporations, the agents, whoever it is. Okay, but the individual. Michael wrote the book. That can't be duplicated. Okay, but LeBron was special, a great athlete. He didn't have that instinct. What he had was an unbelievable sense, even at 17, 18, 19. Those kids, Maverick and Randy and all the kids that that now run LeBron Enterprises, were bright young kids in Cleveland that no one gave a crap about, okay? And they grew up to be pretty damn smart also. I mean, so more than pretty damn smart. They're running a multi-billion-dollar industry right now. Those kids from Ohio. And so I can just tell you that Adidas made a mistake, and then I quit.
Sonny.
I quit.
So, Sonny, how has the shoe game influenced amateur sports? Because how has the shoe game influenced amateur sports?
Well, the shoe game, because it was the first one to pay the kids, pay the athletes, the money that was rightfully theirs, because they were able to sell products. That's always been my thing. I mean, go back to when we paid college coaches. I didn't pay the universities. I paid, Jerry Tarkanian, Lindsey Giselle, John Thompson directly to get his kids to wear the shoes. I mean,
but isn't that wrong? Isn't that morally wrong? I mean, they tell us that the NCAA is to get kids an education, and here you're telling me you're paying the coaches?
The NCAA didn't give a damn what I did. That's the irony of the life that I've led. The NCAA, through all the hypocrisy, basically didn't care that Sonny Vaccarro and Nike were paying college coaches in 77 and 78 directly. Some of them were my own personal check, and then they would wire the money into my account. I mean, it's a long story, and we don't have time right now. But the NCAA only got involved once this sport started turning to business. I mean, that's the problem you have today. The sport became a business, and it's now one of the biggest businesses in the whole world. I mean, it's $1 zillion business. And there's only one thing that I watched happen all these 50, 60 years I've been around this, is the athlete was able to gain financial security as he went along in the system, but never for where he started in the system, the college game. Once the college, because that's when the money started transferring. Everybody else made zillions of dollars, and the athletes got zilch because they have a fraudulent attempt to the public to pretend they're giving them an education and to call them amateurs. I mean, we don't have enough time, Maze, but your public should understand. I don't have anything against the people that run the NCAA or run all these schools. What I have against is the illogical approach they have, and really the mindset that these athletes should not be compensated by more than whatever they're saying about education. You're supposed to give an education by the very thought of what a college is. I mean, so you would think the hypocrisy would stop immediately. You would think that that's all the kids do. They do get an education, but they don't even get that. They get a degree, some of them, if they even get that.
So, Sonny, would you say that the NCAA's commitment to college athletes is genuine, or is it not, in your estimation?
Well, I don't think, I don't think it's genuine in the sense that the athletes are their partners. The athletes provide for everybody's welfare. They're paying for every dinner, every suit, every car, everything the other people have. The athlete is like bank borrowing and doing whatever they're doing to keep pace. I'm not just talking about this scandal. This has gone on for years. But the biggest problem with this scandal, if your listeners will only pay attention to one thing Sonny Vaccarro said today, okay, is this. All the people involved in that scandal, the scandal is now existing with the Louisville, the AD, the coach, the players, the financial guys, this guy, that guy. There was one thing obvious to me in a room that I've watched: a 17 or an 18-year-old kid, having both parents there with them, that took the money. But you know what? All these people, these guys that run this university, these coaches that coach these kids, they are the ones inducing him to come to their school by offering him something that they know isn't like, morally right. I'm not going to get into that, but it's not legal in the sense of rules given out by the NCAA. The NCAA doesn't have laws; they have rules that benefit themselves. Thou shalt not do anything, a kid. Why this kid shouldn't have just bargained for his value? That's what we do in America. I don't know what we do in America sometimes. But the real reason is, if you have a value, you sell it to your buyer. Your buyer pays whatever it is. This kid has an established market value of $100,000 by Louisville. I mean, that's market value. That's a very simple.
So are you advocating that players should be assessed and drafted and paid in the NCAA based on their value and production?
I'm advocating any athlete that goes to a Division I school that's making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of his value. They're not doing it because they want to just, they can have me and you on the floor. The public pays all the money for the one thing, to watch the athletes, the 17, 18-year-old kids that you keep referring to as someone, that is, just a piece here. No, the athlete is the most valuable piece of college sports. Without the athlete, there are no games. That's my argument. This is not illegal, what the athletes, I don't believe at all. This shouldn't have never been put to this point, that it's illegal for someone to give them. Their market value is the one being sold by the colleges to the shoe companies, to the phone companies, to the taxi companies. I mean, what is wrong? They're having a tournament that they get $20 billion guaranteed money for the next 10 years from the networks to televise the NCAA tournament that runs 3 weekends.
$20 billion.
That's what it is. Total it up again. Yeah, for the next 10 years.
So you know what, Sonny? It seems like the black folks are getting disenfranchised. We got to start asking what's in it for the black people from the NCAA. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to the godfather of basketball sneaker culture, Mr. Sonny Vaccarro. Sonny, when we come back, we'll finish this conversation and close the show. It is the Talk Chicago 1690 AM.
More of the morning show with
Damn, 20 billion. You heard that? 20 billion. And just think, when I was coming up, the only shoes that they really had out was to get you some Converse. And if you got the Converse, the leather ones, you was doing good. Then Nike came, but I remember I didn't get a real pair of Nikes until I was, a junior in high school? Think about the gravity of the fact that those shoes that they launched in 1986 are selling for more now than they did back then, right? Are selling for more than they did back then. What up, Linda? Right, but it's to me it's almost borderline slavery. You think about this. So they're making $20 billion a year, and all the labor is free. All the labor is free. Like, that's how the United States came up, right? That's how we became a world superpower. Make all the labor free, build all the roads. If you have no cost to produce the product, man, you can, as a businessman, if I don't have a product cost and I can still put the product out, that's all 100% profit. Then take this into effect. The NCAA is a non-profit organization. So they make $20 billion tax-free. Think about every Rose Bowl, every game. The fact that they make $20 billion. $20 billion. They signed a deal for 3 weekends of basketball. That ain't including...
Yeah, but it's over a period of time, isn't it?
It's over 3 NCAA tournaments, so 3 years. But $20 billion over 3 years. For Division I schools, right? Plus each school has a TV contract. Plus they go in and sign all the deals. So think about this. Rick Pitino was getting paid $3 million by Louisville and $3 million by...
But also you're missing something, man. Look, the NCAA is not... Those aren't ticket sales.
No, I agree. No.
Those are the shoe companies
that
are doing this. The shoe companies are pumping the money into the game, and the car companies and everybody else. But what gets me about the shoe companies that's really interesting is that you're talking about a pair of shoes that cost $495. And the average basketball shoe they're buying is probably around $200, right?
The average basketball shoe is about $100. 75 to 100, yeah.
I mean, that they want that are premium.
I mean, I think, that are what? 120, 100, yeah. Okay, even for a kid. Okay, I'm youth basketball.
For a kid. Okay, check it out. Why do they have to make those overseas? Why do you have to make a shoe with that kind of markup?
Same reason you got
unless you're so greedy that you got to get your cost per unit down so far to make the most money, when in fact at that price you ain't got to do that. You can make money. You can make money by making them here, but they're going to get exploited.
But that's everybody.
I know it's everybody, but just think about the whole corporate mindset that would do that.
They'll
take a product like that could easily be made in the United States, pay a person a decent wage to make it, and sell it. And people would buy it, everything would be cool. But they're going to take it all the way overseas so they can get a $2 per unit cost to sell something over here for $120. That shows a certain immorality about the whole game. A whole game is like, man, they don't care about anything.
But I think let me just say this. I think that if you go, that is 100% correct. I also think that's the same thing with Apple and iPhones. I think that is the same thing with Walmart. I think that is the same thing with any product that is manufactured. If China is doing more work than us, and we're consuming products that are done in China, then it's across the board. It's like cost. You know, you're trying to get your costs down, but at what price?
But what price? And the price to them is they don't care about this country or anybody over here. They don't. The corporations, these shoe companies. But it's all of them. You want to boycott somebody? Boycott their ass.
I gotta wear shoes. You run them. You are tuned into the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building, and we are talking to the godfather of the basketball sneaker culture, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sonny Vaccarro. Sonny, we've only got a few minutes, but I would like, before you go, Sonny, to break down how the transfer of money works between the NCAA, AAU, and the athlete.
You know, Mace, the problem here that we should just look at right here, all the inducements coming to the athlete are coming from the universities. I mean, there is no transaction unless someone from a college gives some money to the kid who they're trying to get to their college so they have a better football and basketball team to make their team win championships, be in the tournament, and get millions of dollars. You know, every team in the Big Ten, I believe, is going to make $40 million this year. 40 million. That's what they're going to from their television contracts. And
even if they suck.
No, and they do suck. Some of them suck. You know, they're pathetic. But that's they all share alike. And this is equal opportunity employment by the NCAA says one thing. Well, we can keep all $40 million if we don't have to give it to the real reason that people buy the tickets and watch the games. Those are the athletes. This is my fight. The athletes are the only reason anyone watches. You have no idea who the people running these games are. You don't know anything about anybody other than they pay themselves. Why in God's name, and I'm not picking on Mark Emmert specifically, I said it for everyone that I've been conscious of, why in God's name would the president of the NCAA be paid $2 million a year? I have no idea what his job is. I don't know what he's never done. They schedule games. I want to make that. But the only thing important, they sell programming, they sell the shirts, they sell the shoes, they sell the the phones, because the athletes, and when you're sticking to the shoe industry, there's not a better model for corporate America to sell a product than the kids, the thing that the kids wear, the men wear when they play the game. What differentiates it, once they go to the pros, they cut their own deals and they get shoe deals. I mean, I've watched these kids grow up. I mean, when you're talking about Steph Curry and you're talking about LeBron and you're talking about Harden and Russell and all the great players. I mean, what if Michael would have been playing those in '84? I mean, he ended up pretty damn well, and no one's going to do as well as Michael. But I'm saying to you, the money is off the wall. Why is it that no one understands? The only reason the shoe company gives them this money as a professional is because they still sell shoes.
Sonny, so why don't the black players with all their commodities, why don't they start their own leagues?
Well, they're not going to start a league. You're not going to go against any of the leagues. That's not going to happen. And you can't just keep saying the black players, just the athletes, the total athletes. 80% are the black players, and especially in college. At least when they get to the pros, they have an opportunity to negotiate their value and get paid. So I'm not going to fight that fight because you have agents, you have financial advisors, whatever you do, you're now a day older and you should be a lot richer also. Stick to college. The college is an inducement by recruiting. They're the ones that put the value of the athlete on the table. When they recruit you and offer you a fraudulent scholarship, I call it, because it doesn't really cost them anything. It's a damn share in a classroom. It's not like they're taking $50,000 out of their pocket and handing it to you. They're handing it to you to give back to the school to pay for your class in whatever class they gave you. Stick to the point of all the illegitimate things that you've seen happen and just recently and over the years has done so to power all the college coach, the college administration, and the people who administer it, are the NCAA.
Sonny, Go ahead. I gotta stop you, but before we go, gotta ask you the question: do you think black athletes are being pimped by the NCAA?
I don't want to say it that way. I think athletes are, but black athletes have more power than ever as a group, because I know what you're saying. That's 100% true, but you have to include all athletes. You have to include none of the athletes that play for these sports: white, green, purple, and black. Okay, majority are black, but I blame the community for not in their own reaction to recruiting. The mothers and dads of these kids, they should be the ones that should sue the NCAA in a poll. If all these kids, before they're even drafted, would go against them, so we want these stupid rules changed and we want an equal foot at the table. The athletes are the foot at the table. The athletes, they're the ones that can do it. So I say the community, all communities, and we're talking about black community, which have the power. There's no question about that, Maze. You're absolutely right in your assumption that the majority of the great teams have the majority of the players are black. That's unquestionable, and it's been that way for years.
Sonny.
But they got to do something. We got to go together as a team, and hopefully you people ride and say, that crazy Italian white guy from Pittsburgh who's 78 years old still thinks that these kids don't stand up for themselves, and the parents should stand up. Question the scholarships. Question everything.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, Sonny Vaccarro, you got it straight from the horse's mouth. If you got your kids in NCAA, you hoping for a dream, we dispelled the dream today. Let's get the fair market value for our kids. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Talk Chicago, 1690 AM. I don't know where the time went, but until tomorrow, for Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, for Sonia Escobar, the musical conductor of the Soul Plane, for my main man, Charles Thomas.
See ya.
And I'm your man, Maze Jackson. I gotta say, we out of here. And if you don't like it, you can still tell them, Maze said, we out of here.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation.
Man, take back your power. That means you, mama, sitting there. When you there at the game and that guy comes to you and he says, I think your son could be a star. We got to start taking the power back. You see that white man who has made his career off of black athletes even understands the power that black folks have that we don't exercise. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned in to the WVON Morning Show. Charles, you got anything you want to say?
I think that, I don't know, I kind of think that I appreciate the guy and what he did and his historic nature of what he does, but he represents a very corrupt industry in this reporter's way of thinking, because they're exploiting more than just athletes. They're exploiting American workers generally by making all this stuff overseas when they don't have to. It's a product that very well could be made here, and there could be some help in terms of the workers and such. I mean, this ain't, making steel where the margin is like this. This is making shoes where the margin is like this. There's plenty of room in there to supply some manufacturing jobs for American workers. It's one of those industries that I have real questions about. Some industries, they're undeniable. I mean, they're gonna make it cheaper in other countries. But this one, I mean, this is so cheap that there's just a lot of room in there for people, for manufacturers, for people who work in manufacturing jobs to make some money. That's all.
And for as a consumer of gym shoes,
and this guy got rich.
As I'm saying, as everybody did, and as a consumer of gym shoes, hey man, Sonny has helped my family tremendously. Look forward, holla back. Made Michael Jordan a billionaire. Made all of the LeBron, all those people. Holla back, peace.
That these black kids wear and buy. So my only point is that these shoes, when they make them overseas, they make them for like